Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for yet another match of the Super Rugby Pacific competition. This game between the Waratahs and the Reds, both coming off wins in their first round fixtures, but we will have to wait and see exactly who will be coming out on top for this game. Two very strong lineups we do see here for this game, and hopefully it is going to be a game that well and truly delivers in the action between the two of them, because we have got plenty of stuff on the line, I guess you could say, pretty much in the simplest way possible. Plenty on the line for both of these sides, and we will be going through their starting lineups in a very short moment. But if you are new to this channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Nonetheless, we will start with let's start with the home side in this game, which in this one, it is going to be the Waratahs. So looking through Angus Bell, Dave Parecki, and Harry Johnson-Holmes, they are going to be the front row. But they have decided to go with Jed Holloway in a very good game last week up against the Fijian drawer. And then also alongside him, it will be the man at number 5, Jeff Cridge, does play a majority of his rugby, I believe, in New Zealand for the Bunnings NPC, which is pretty awesome to see him overseas at the Waratahs. Jeremy Williams, Charlie Gamble, and William Harris will be the three that they have gone with in the loose forward trio. So no sign of Lockie Swinton here for the Waratahs, which will be a bit of a hit for them. Jake Gordon and Ben Donaldson, they will be the 19 combo that they have gone with. James Turner out on the wing. He was impressive last week. We'll be hoping to do the same this week in this matchup. Faketi and Perezi are going to be the midfield. Piachi out on the other wing, and then Alex Newsom will be slotting in at fullback for the Waratahs. Looking through quickly at the Reds for this matchup, we have also got Nathan Sim in the chat. I am trying to get a win on Rugby Championships, and also New Zealand cases are 2,802. Is that 2,800 or is that 12,800? Shane, do let me know. But the Reds for this match, they have got Fotuaika in the front row alongside Murphy and Big Taniela Tupou. Actually scored himself a try last week, got the try, got a yellow card, had to sit on a tiny little seat for Taniela Tupou. That seat was very sturdy, though. It did not break under Taniela Tupou for that one, but the Reds, they were still able to get themselves a win. Angus Blythe going to be at number 4 with Lukan Salakai Lotto at number 5. Angus Scott Young, Fraser McRae, and Harry Wilson are going to be the loose forward trio. Always strong for the Red Six Nations this weekend. Who will win the matches, says Bob Jobs. For this one, I'm going to say France beat... do France beat Scotland? France and Scotland play at Murrayfield, and Murrayfield is somewhere where Scotland can certainly pull off upsets. I believe last year when the two of the sides played, it was actually Scotland that ended up getting the win, but I'll go France as the safe option. Then England versus Wales, I believe England will sneak it, and then Ireland versus Italy. Ireland should win that game rather comfortably. In 2,802, read it on stuff. And there says Shane Hayes. The case number's still going up and up and up. Tate McDermott, James O'Connor as the 9-10 combo. Their potential keeps on going up and up. Filippo Dalgunu out on one wing. Hamish Stewart and Josh Fluke in the midfield. Jordan Pataya slotting out on the right wing. And then Jock Campbell will be at number 15 for this game in the matchup for the Reds. But now looking through at the reserves, they are going to be as follows. Tom Horton, then it will be Faulkner, Rowan Smith, and there at number 3, I almost said, but 18. I was saying Scotland, England, and Ireland to win. I can easily see it. I can see Scotland beating France in that game, and I feel like that's a very bold prediction to make, but it's possible. You know, they've got the potential, Scotland, but yeah, France, it's going to be a tough game. That is true. I'm playing Force with Crusaders, and I haven't won a game all year. And the Tars, or good Tars, is good for Australian rugby. Agree. Exactly right. Waratahs finishing above. I mean, Waratahs in the quarterfinals will be awesome for them, and just kind of developing the rugby union side of it for some of these Australian sides. Max Douglas, I should say, with Langy Gleeson, Jack Grant, Tane Edmund, and then Jamie Roberts, the big man coming off the bench in the later stages of this match. So out of that bench, Xavier, for yourself, who is the player that you are most looking forward to seeing in action? I will move that for a second just so that you can see Jamie Roberts and Tane Emmet. But yeah, who is the player for the bench? And also, who is the player in the starting lineup I should keep a close eye on for this matchup? Nasser, Hoffert, and Ngor will be the replacements for the Reds. Ryan Smith and Siru Uru back in action. Then it is going to be Spencer Jeans, Lawson Creighton, and Matt Greeley, in fact. And back in the Tars, and this one says Ed Vogel. And also, game of Super Rugby will be Blues versus Hurricanes this weekend, says Shane. And that is taking place tomorrow and should be a very awesome contest to see. Currently, the table is going to be sitting as follows. Now, I will mention this one isn't updated, but the Crusaders are in first after their win over the Highlanders. No one else will move other than Crusaders up to first, Waratahs in second, Reds in third at this current time. And the top three sides here, Waratahs and the Reds, they are going to be in action to try and catch up with the Crusaders. Going to be a tough one to do, but if they can get themselves a decent win here, and the world is their oyster. Currently looking through at the other games that we have got for the weekend. The Brumbies will be taking on the Fijian Drua. That is happening tomorrow. Blues versus Hurricanes, and then Rebels versus Western Force, with the Chiefs versus Moana Pacific, a game unfortunately being postponed. That is 2 weeks in a row that we haven't been able to see the Moana Pacifica boys in action, but hopefully they will be back in the near future. Looking through quickly at the upcoming fixtures for these two sides. The Waratahs, they've got the Brumbies next week. After that, the Western Force, the Rebels, and then they play the Reds once again for their next game, and that is on the 26th of March. So it's back to back for these games, which is always very exciting news. If you do love yourself some Super Rugby Pacific, we have got you covered every single game that is being played. We will be covering on the channel also. Then looking through at the Reds, they've got the Western Force next week, still to be confirmed at what time that game will be taking place. Then they've got Fijian Drua, then the Brumbies, and then the Waratahs. Now, the Brumbies game, it is going to be a repeat of Super Rugby AU. Every time those sides end up playing, it's always the Reds that sneak it at the last moment. 21 days' time, we will get to find out whether or not history does repeat itself. And State of Origin game is always exciting. And this is it. It is indeed New South Wales Waratahs taking on the Queensland Red. I guess this is the equivalent of, I guess this is the equivalent of State of Origin in the rugby union scene, which is still I'm not complaining one bit. It should be a very exciting one with these two sides. But off the bench here, for me, I'd say Sururu, big man to watch out for. And then also in the starting lineup, I mean, we saw him last week, Harry Wilson, Taniela Tupou as well. Those two are definitely going to be ones to watch out for in that forward pack. Alongside them, though, Charlie Gamble played pretty well last week, I believe. And Jed Holloway was one of the standouts of the whole competition, the way he was playing. It's going to be tough for the Highlanders play the Hurricanes next week. As Shane, never an easy game in Super Rugby when you are facing off against the New Zealand sides in those New Zealand derbies. But the good news is we get to watch them every single week in action, and that just makes me even more excited than I already was for Super Rugby to just keep on going. And hopefully we don't have any more games postponed, or else then it does cause a few more, issues in terms of those games just being closer and closer to not being able to take place. But currently the Blues are going to be are going to be playing the Hurricanes tomorrow, I should say, for their first matchup. And I forgot to ask how Tester's going. So currently New Zealand, they're struggling a little bit in that matchup. It is going to be South Africa. I believe they're sitting about 240 runs for about 3 wickets down. I'll just get that exact number for you, so I'm not telling you false information. But New Zealand, they have definitely come to play in this game, South Africa, and it is going to be a tough one to be able to fight back in. But we will have to wait and see. I'm optimistic that this game is either going to be a draw or someone will be able to get a win on day 5. We will be covering most of the days on the channel. The only day that we won't be able to cover, unfortunately, is tomorrow, with all the Super Rugby that we have got overlapping. Just means that sleep schedule would not exist if I did end up doing those games as well. But pretty much at the moment, Manly up against, I believe it is the Canberra Raiders, currently sitting 18 points to 16 for anyone who is wondering about that game. Roosters versus West Tigers kicking off in a very short moment as well. So the cricket, as we sit currently for New Zealand and South Africa, we are up to day 2 tomorrow. But at this current stage, South Africa sitting 238 for 3. So it was one of the openers. He was able to get himself a debut 100, and that was Urvia, I believe is the pronunciation there. And then Elgar getting 41, Makram getting himself 42, and Rassi van der Dussen and also Bavuma both at the crease now, rebuilding another partnership for the South Africans. But I'm impressed with the way that they've been batting so far, and hopefully that does continue throughout the next little while of this test match, and they can get themselves a nice 350-run lead or somewhere around there, really push the Black Caps before they head over to England for those upcoming matches. And also we have got their war, and there's Brandon. Currently, we are just about here for this game between the Reds and the Rebels. Should always be a good contest. Or in fact, sorry, the Reds versus the Waratahs. We did see Reds versus Rebels last week. It poured down for the rain. And hopefully that will not be the case in this game, or else it's going to be a very frustrating second half to watch. I remember watching it last week, and it was just rough. Like, I was expecting so much in that second half after seeing such a great first half between the Reds and the Rebels. And the rain just poured and poured and poured. Is Ross Taylor playing for Central Stags tomorrow? I believe he is. Him and Martin Guptill, both in some pretty good form for their sides heading into the final. It's going to be an exciting one. I just wish that it didn't overlap with the kind of other matches that we got on, whether that's Test match cricket, whether that is Super Rugby as well. It'd be very nice to see some of those games taking place without too many, I guess, not too many technical difficulties, but too many of those ones how you have to try and decide exactly who you want to see win them, or who you want to watch, in fact. And why is Big Boy not playing? And there says Xavier Brown. Big Boy. Oh, okay. Taniela Tupou is not playing in this game, so I assume that is who Big Boy is. Interesting. So some sort of injury for Taniela Tupou. Is he on the bench? This is a huge one. Okay. Taniela Tupou, I believe they have just said about his shoulder injury. So that's not good. That is something that could be a game changer here for the Reds. They would have loved to have him, but he is not available for this match. So Fotuaika, he actually moves into the number 3 jersey, and then starting at number 1, I believe they have got the change, which is not going to be Hoffert, not going to be Ngor. And I'm still trying to work out exactly who is going to be replacing him, but that is a big one. Damn, I reckon you're better than BR Slaughter. So says Ollie, will appreciate you, mate. Hugely appreciate it indeed. But at the moment, the Waratahs, I believe, they have still got the same lineup. And also, can you please tell George to come tomorrow to a rugby? And there says Brandon, annoying that he is injured after we verse them. And there says Xavier. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because Taniela Tupou, for me, I did say that he was going to be one of the keys in this lineup for the Reds. So now that he is out, what impact does that have on the Reds' performance here? And the late change in that front row will certainly cause a few more issues possibly. And do you think Warriors will win tomorrow? I hope they do. But then I would accept them losing in preseason if it means they go better in the regular season. I feel like that is a good way of looking at it. And also for George to come around tomorrow for the rugby, it depends on the weather. If it isn't raining here, more than likely George will be working. Okay, we've got 50% chance of rain in the morning, but then the rugby's taking place in the afternoon, so more than likely he will be working. Unfortunately, and yes, Shane. And there says Ollie there. Currently now, Dave McDermott going to be leading out his red side for yet another match. This game's going to be played at Leichhardt Oval, which is good to see. A few new locations. The last game that we saw take place here was Reds versus Crusaders, and that was for Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, and the game that the Crusaders were just short of making it to the Trans-Tasman final. Instead, the Blues and the Highlanders were successful in making it that night. There's rain. There's a little bit of rain around. Please tell me it's not going to be too slippery, though. And, of course, our mate New Zealand all the way. And there says Ollie Wilson. But currently now, Harry Wilson, he will be rearing to go. He scored himself a try last week, 15 carries, 10 game line carries, and 14 tackles. And also has crossed the game line the most of any Red this season. I feel like that stat's a bit like 50-50 because they've played one game. And it was, how big was that Michael Wells, hit on James O'Connor last week? Tell you what, I actually tensed for James O'Connor in that one. The way that his ribcage got rattled. But yeah, he did seem to be all right. He took it like a champ, which I guess you don't make it to 100 games without getting smacked around a little bit out on the rugby field and watching and on streaming. After the ad, I came says Vishal. Yeah, and this game is only sitting a couple minutes away currently. The boys all warming up, making sure that they have got a little bit of grip on their hands. Looks like they've got some chalk and also a little bit of, I believe, some type of tube of gel slash thing that makes it a little bit less slippery, which will be important in these conditions because it is raining rather heavily, which does mean it could be heavily affected by the rain. But Jake Gordon leading his side out, so it's Tate McDermott and Jake Gordon both leading out these sides. The halfback's going to be in action for this matchup, and that's going to be a good old battle between the two who were rotating between the Wallabies when Nick White was out. But now we are ready to go here for the Waratahs. And this is considered as a home game for themselves, even though this game has taken place in Sydney, or not Sydney, sorry. Is it in Sydney? Or is it in Melbourne? Because I know that the Melbourne Rebels had a few games out of Leichhardt. So maybe it is actually in Sydney, sorry. Yeah, and also support Highlanders, win or lose, although support the Crusaders and Sky Sport has the World Cup. Or is that for the cricket, Shane? So that means that we will be able to watch it on there. Put $130 on the Waratahs winning. They would have paying like $5. Darko, or minus plus 500 odds. I don't know how they plus 500 were they? Something like that. Minus 500. And also we have got their State of Origin rugby union style and the Maroons getting at 1 to 12, says Tiriaka. Teraka. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly for your name. But currently, this guy's going to be ready to go. James O'Connor doing some breathing exercises. That looked like that was painful for that man doing those breaths. But also we have got there, bro. You eat something after the match because time for dinner at New Zealand, says for sure. We are currently sitting 9:45 p.m. in New Zealand. So I'll probably end up having something to eat at midnight tonight, which sounds weird to say, but that is pretty much my tea time with the schedule that we have got cricket. Yes, it's been advertised. Okay, so that is awesome that we will be able to watch those games on Sky Sport. Damon Murphy, the referee in charge of this one. I'm about to sneeze, and I really hope I don't. It's not the way that I want to start this match. How do you stop yourself from sneezing? Bananas, no, pineapple. What's the fruit? One of the fruits stop you from sneezing, apparently, if you think about it or say it. That's going to be kicked off now for the Reds, though. And we are going to be ready to go for this game. It's the second game of round 2 of Super Rugby Pacific. Passed across, and now it looks like it's going to be straight away a good attacking run from it was Isaiah Parisi, or in fact it was Faketi there, and $135 on the Waratahs to win in order to win $3 or 371. Geez, those odds aren't huge for yourself, Darko. I'm actually going to have a look at the New Zealand odds because I feel like you would get a lot better bargain if you were in New Zealand, unless of course the odds have changed because of Taniela Tupou's injury. The player who I told you to put money on, he's not playing sadly due to an injury. It does mean that he is going to be missing out. It's going to be the penalty early on for not releasing, and it does go in favour of the Reds. Now, this will be an easy 3 points if they want it. Harry Johnson-Holmes, the man penalised for that one. The Raiders actually beating the Manly Sea Eagles in their fixture. Okay, the Waratahs, paying $3.20 over here in New Zealand. So I guess kind of similar. And yeah, odds change, bro, says Taraka. And yeah, that's the thing. It just shows you how much of a physical presence Taniela Tupou brings to a lineup. With the fact that the odds can go from them paying about $4 as underdogs, dipping right down now for the Waratahs to go up to $3.20 for their odds, all because one man is missing. Like, that's called impact. And that is what Taniela Tupou brings to the Reds. But now, 3 points on offer here for them to be able to get some nice points early from James O'Connor. And also New Zealand versus West Indies next Friday, 1:30 p.m. Says Shane, it is 50 overs, isn't it? If it wasn't an ODI, if it was instead T20, I would probably end up covering all of New Zealand's games. But because they're ODIs, they're a little bit longer, and my voice would disappear many times throughout those live streams. But now James O'Connor lines it up, strikes it all right, hits the post, still skims over though, and he's got a big smile on his face going, easy does it. It's gone over, and now 3-0 for the Reds. Nice early start for them, only 2 minutes into this game and already being able to get themselves to 3 here. And Hamish, bro, Women's World Cup around the corner of the next month. I should be watching White Ferns game, says Michelle. And I believe there are a few overlaps with the rugby, but we will be covering those games like on the channel kind of alongside it, if that makes sense. So we'll still give you updates on what's happening for the White Ferns. Juggle there. Another knock on. And Harry Johnson-Holmes, he slipped over. There is plenty of moisture around at the moment at Leichhardt Oval. Taken nicely on the halfway line there by Ben Donaldson at number 9, or at number 10, sorry, I should say. James Turner now attacking, and dang, rain I see. Yep, it is raining indeed. And sadly, that does mean now that this game could be very similar to the last game. That ball's going to be available at the back. Very nicely done by the Waratahs after getting held up. Now, Ben Donaldson, flat ball to Harry Johnson-Holmes. They've got the advantage for offside now. And it looks like the Waratahs are going to continue to build their way into it. Going to be big Jed Holloway, phenomenal player in the last week's match up against the Fijian draw. Jake Gordon trying to pierce the gap around the side. Almost kicked for that one. Filippo Dalgunu throws it forward. Penalty for the Waratahs. Does raining mean a lower score? Not mum, says Darko. Normally it is the case. There's plenty of rain around. Then it does normally mean a lot more handling errors. So a bit more stop-start, more time in the scrum, which is kind of like a set reset, I guess you could say, if we are talking more like American football rules, kind of like a start of a play. No, I don't know. I don't know American football teams. I can watch full T20 games, but can't watch a full test or ODI games. Says Shane there. Yeah, ODI for me gets a little bit too long. Like, I'll watch like the first 30 overs, but then it's normally like I'm probably more likely to watch the first 20 overs, watch the last 10 of an innings, and then the same for the next innings, just because it does feel like a very long time. And I can watch. Oh, no, I read that one. And India versus Sri Lanka played in a T20 game last night. Says Shane, I believe India won that one, didn't they? And also, whether it's sunny, says Brandon, although not at Leichhardt Oval, Ben Donaldson misses that one. Just a little bit dragged to the right-hand side or in fact out to the left. So because of it now, the Reds, they will still have a 3-0 lead. And now a 22 dropout. It is pouring once again there. But like I said, do the Reds have their own rain cloud, which they travel with to all their games? Give us some sun, Australia. It seems really weird that, it seems very weird that out of all the games, I swear that these are the only games that have been affected by rain. I could be wrong with that statement, but I believe, that would have hurt the body. He's probably winded badly here for the Waratahs. Landed heavy on that back. Oh, it's Jed Holloway. He's the player I was praising so much. Hopefully he is all right. We'll be able to get up and continue going. Jeff Cridge now taking the contact there. Counting a ruck from the Reds. Anyone who doesn't know, breaking news for this game, Taniela Tupou out of the starting lineup. Nice wide ball now, freeing up the man on the outside, which is Dylan Pearch. Looked like he was leading with the elbow a little bit there. Got to be careful with that technique. Angus Bell taking contact once again here. Jake Gordon fires it back. Flat ball now into the hands of, it was, I believe, Will Harris. Ben Donaldson puts the ball up high, and they can't afford to give away the ball too often here, the Waratahs, because the Reds will make you pay. Nice tackle on James O'Connor there. Falling on the wrong side. Still got this ball in hand, though, for the Reds. And what do you think of Reds? What do you think of Reds minus 5.5? I'd say that's probably not a terrible one. What are the odds for that one, Dean? Overall, and also heatwave and rain in Australia. Says Brandon, that ball's been kicked high from Ben McDermott. Or in fact, it was Tate McDermott, sorry. Taken nicely there by Turner. Currently, the Waratahs, they are working hard in this game. Ben Donaldson fires it back. Wide cut-out pass was going backwards now out to pitch. Let's try and step his way through. I'm almost getting the hiccups. Unfortunately, we can't have that, though. It will just cause a whole heap of annoyance. Well, that's one big carry forward here for them once again. They have been told to release. So Angus Blythe unable to contest for that one. Harry Johnson-Holmes goes back to Dave Parecki, who is nailed in the tackle by Alex Murphy, trying to roll the right way. So it's still going to be available phase after phase here for the Waratahs. Flinging it back now. Just getting the leg taken out low. Parisi still available for them. This will be frustrating the Reds. Jake Gordon asking for the penalty. Doesn't end up getting it. So now he's got to fight for that ball. And he has done just that. Harry Johnson-Holmes once again around the side, tackle by Fotuaika. Is starting at number 3 for this match rather than 1 like he was initially scheduled to. Now, once again, Angus Scott Young bringing that physicality in the breakdown and 0.8. And there, so is that 80 cents, I assume, or $1.80. That's going to be a nice backline movement there. And now Turner once again, I believe Fraser McWright has won the penalty. They went in from the side, the Waratahs. And I have a question, go away, or not go away, go for it, I meant to say. Yeah, and also that is because of the fact that I did read above with Shane Hayes saying, did you get another rugby player passed away? And I read away at the same time. That was unfortunate timing. I do apologise for that. And soggy ball equals knock-on party. Exactly right. Well, that one. And also, question, do you know how much case do we got today? Someone said earlier on, I think it was Shane said 2,000, but then someone else said 12,000. So I'm not too sure. But Taniela Tupou, he'll be disappointed to not be out there on the field here for the Reds in this matchup. Did you guys see me just poke myself in the eye? That was unfortunate. Now fire back for James O'Connor. Does kick it further down the field, taken nicely by Turner once again here. Now Newsom kicks it in behind, just trying to play a little bit of that territory game, although that is one that the Reds played very well, 2,802. And also we have got the 12K cases today, 5 deaths, and 12,061 new cases. And there says Brandon. So is it 2,800 maybe in Dunedin, Shane? Are they up to that many down there? Or is it kind of maybe a Otago region might be that? If I died as well, says Brandon there. James O'Connor, it's a good kick downfield until the ball went out on the full. And now because of it, the Waratahs are once again going to have the opportunity to get this one. Nice ball out to Jake Gordon. Now attacking well. Will Harris offloading it back. And where are you getting this info from? Are you in New Zealand, says Shane. And then nice backline movement, linking up here. Newsom trying to link up with a man on the inside. Doesn't quite work out for him now. Going around the side, James Turner in closer and closer. And currently now it is going to be important that the Waratahs do not rush this attack and that they just use each phase to their advantage, try and get a little bit closer. And yes, in New Zealand. And there says North Mum. Now around the side once again. And closer and closer. I see Jed Holloway's back to his feet. Jeez, he's a tough individual. They've got the advantage once again now for the Waratahs. The Reds' discipline going to be letting them down a little bit here, but only 2 meters short. Fotuaika, like he is going to be the man to try and slow down Harry Johnson-Holmes. His opposite number has done just that. It'll be 5 back once again now for the Waratahs. Quick backline movement. Jake Gordon, flat ball. Is it a knock-on? No, it's still gone backwards. That one was close to a knock-on. And now they are going to be going back for the original penalty. I'm in Invercargill. I read it on Stuff as well. And there says Shane. So maybe that's something to do with the Otago, although surely Otago aren't getting 2,800 by themselves. Currently, like they're saying, the Waratahs, they're doing well. They're just playing crash ball, using the big forwards. Just ends up slipping out of the hands of Will Harris. And also, we're all going to catch fires. And there says Shane, it's something to look forward to. I mean, it's going to be unfortunate if the competition does get delayed a little bit more, because we've already had Moana Pacifica unable to play 2 of their matches. And I feel like there are more cancellations maybe just around the corner. I'm feeling a Muffy rolling Mull try. Look at his face. He's up to something. And there says Sebastian in Auckland started this. And they're from Shane Hayes. But now currently the Waratahs, they are going to be 5 meters out with the scrum feed. But I agree. Alex Murphy, he scored a lot of rolling Mull tries last year for the Reds. Perhaps this year will be no different. And also 10,099 in Auckland, says Brandon. That's a huge number there for the Auckland community. So good push there from the Waratahs. Is this an advantage? No, they did not get one in the end. Jake Gordon now out to Faketi. Does run a hard at line. Jake Gordon now going back across. Jake Gordon just complaining to the referee on the touchline, saying maybe there was a little bit of offside involved in that one, but instead probably should be at the breakdown, waiting for the opportunity to pass it back to the big forwards. Harry Johnson-Holmes now round the side, getting closer here. Harry Wilson or Fraser McWright, in fact, it was trying to get over the ball. Now closer and closer, the Waratahs building phases very nicely. Jed Holloway trying to stretch out. And now only a couple meters short of the line. Jake Gordon goes back to Ben Donaldson. Wide pass. Ball on the inside to Perezi. He does get it down, does he or does he? Not maybe. Tate McDermott has stolen that ball. He's not happy with Ben Donaldson there for that one. Okay. Is that going to be the try for Perezi and also cancel games? Do they get any points at this stage? If it's postponed, they don't split the points, because I think they are hoping to make the game take place at a later stage. But if it's cancelled, I believe they'll just get 2 points each. Or whether it's going to be like the URC, how it's the team with more cases forfeit the points. It's going to be a weird system. Okay, checking to see whether or not this try was scored by the big man Isaiah Perezi. It was a good ball on the inside from James Turner. Then from there, Tate McDermott tried to stop him. And unfortunately, right in the way, it's Jordan Pataya, so we're not going to see it quite from that angle. It looks so close from, we need one from behind. I feel like as soon as we see a behind angle, that will tell us everything that we do need to know. They need clear, conclusive evidence that that ball is either down or that it is up. This angle will show it. It's on the arm. It's on the arm of Tate McDermott. I think this is going to be called as a no try here. In 2020, COVID free in New Zealand. 2020 again. In 2022, COVID is getting 14,000. And there says Brandon. So it is going to be stuck with the on-field decision of no try, which now means goal line dropout. Held up. That's not going to make the crowd too happy with that one. But Izzy Parisi, he thought that he had scored that one, but he wasn't too far off. Ended up almost getting a swinging arm from James O'Connor. You have to be careful with that technique, as it could get him into a little bit of trouble. But Tate McDermott just getting that arm under the ball. Brilliant work from the skipper of the Reds. And that has saved a certain try. And all teams aren't safe from virus. And there says Shane Hayes. Currently now 3 nicely done. Currently the ball in play. 81% possession, 91% territory for the Waratahs. And 3 times they have reached 7+ phases. And who do you reckon wins this one, bro? I mean, on paper, I said the Reds, but in this game at the moment, the Waratahs are doing very nicely for themselves. The Reds losing one of their biggest players, Taniela Tupou, just before the match due to an injury, which does now mean that it is going to be an awesome opportunity for the Waratahs to try and break their way through. Parisi breaking out of the tackle with Dalgunu now. Straight on the ball there by Hamish Stewart. No, Okay, Angus Scott Young hadn't rolled away, so that is why the penalty is going the way of the Waratahs. Do they try and take on the 3 from about 30 metres out? I would. That man's got an impressive mustache. I think that's Charlie Gamble. Certainly a lot better than mine. That is for sure. Currently, the Waratahs, they are playing like a team who want to win this game up against the Reds. And hopefully, we do get to see a game as close as that game between the Highlanders and the Crusaders. It would be a treat to see if it is close. The rain probably will make it a lot closer. South Island never got hit. This Hartwood virus. And there's Shane and Ben Donaldson now. Currently 2 games in 2022. 6 total goals. Wait, 6 total goals. He missed the last one. Wait. Who took the first kick then? Ben. He's missed it again. So that's 2 against him now. So I think they're confused with their stats at this point in time, because that's 2 misses now in a row for Ben Donaldson. And now, rather than taking the option 5 metres out for the 3 points, they actually went for the scrum. And this one, so they were confident in their forwards. Didn't quite work out for them. And now, at this point in time, 13 minutes, and they are still 3-0 down into this matchup. Ball going high, taken nicely there by James Turner. He's been impressive throughout the stage. I believe he plays a majority of his rugby for Otago in the Bunnings NBC. Juggle there from Cridge, but he's been able to hang on to it nicely. Boy, he was rushing up Dalgunu, which now opens up the gap for Perezi. Cover defense, brilliantly done by Tate McDermott. Gets him around the ankles and puts the big man in touch there. Having a battle and a half, those two, Perezi and Tate McDermott. Definitely different frames, definitely different sizes, but both have got a huge heart. Tate McDermott is having a little bit more of an advantage, I guess you could say. Brilliant low tackle around the ankles. Tied them up straight away, and also ties the win. Says Shane, and also have check your phone. I hear something. And there says Brandon. My phone, it's probably a notification saying, it's saying about the Six Nations, saying that Ireland posted their squad. I think that is. That's gone now. Kick downfield once again, taken nicely. Peach close to a full pass there. I know somebody does kick it downfield, looking for the 50-22. James O'Connor cleans it up nicely inside of his 22. And you can tell the raindrops are big when you can see them from as far away as we can. Now taken nicely by Newsom, back into the hands of Turner now. Sitting behind, trying to find just some sort of space. Goes straight to Filippo Dalgunu. Now that man has a long boot when he does use it. It's a good kick downfield from Filippo Dalgunu. Gets him down to the halfway line, and the Reds still yet to concede any points in this matchup. They got that extremely early 3 against, I believe it was Harry Johnson-Holmes, who was penalised for the Waratahs. But Brad Thorne, the head coach of the Reds, he will be hoping to get this season off with 2 wins in a row, because the more wins that these Australian sides have against Australian sides, the better chance they have of making it through to that quarterfinal, which is going to be coming up in the later stages of, I want to say it's late April that it will be taking place, but it could be a little bit wrong there on the date. But now around the side, Tate McDermott dragged down. Ben Donaldson straight on the ball. No, instead it was actually Charlie Gamble. He's taking the gamble in the breakdown. McDermott on the halfway line for the Reds. Putting it back into the pocket of James O'Connor. Rushing forward, almost partially charged down there. Going to be high. Not quite taken by Newsom. Knocked on by Fluke. And I believe it is going to be a possible double knock on here. And can we talk about the Six Nations lineups? Or do you plan to post videos about them, Hamish? And there says Sebastian, I don't actually have videos planned for this week for them, so we can go for it. If you do, like, which team are you looking at the most? And I will get their lineup up. I know England's, I know France's. I do know a little bit about Ireland's. I think James Lowe is back in the squad, isn't he? Good thing about rugby and Dunedin, no rain. That is true. And also, you got me. I send you a message on Discord, and there says Brandon. Although if it was a Discord message, my phone doesn't actually get Discord messages till about 30 minutes after they're sent, which is very annoying when someone tries to ring me, because they ring and then it doesn't ring for like 20 minutes, and then it rings and then I answer and they're not there because they left 20 minutes ago. All right, and I'm playing Crusaders versus Highlanders. We'll keep you updated. There's Nathan Sim there and the Roses for that one. I see, did they actually, one moment, we're going to look at the English lineup for a very short moment while we are getting the scrum reset. There's going to be quite a few of these scrum resets throughout this match. I do see Ellis Genge, Cowan, Dickey, Sinclair. It's the front row. Mara Toje back to 5 with Laws as the captain there, taking the captaincy off Tom Curry. Unfortunate. Well, that man, Alex Dombrand starting at 8. I know that the Quins man would be very happy with that. Also, Marcus Smith still getting the 10 jersey. And then Freddie Stewart, Jamie George off the bench. It's looking pretty good for them. So Ezekwe gets to come off the bench rather than starting, and Yules gets to start at 4. Solid. And made the penalty there to the Reds for it just rotating a little bit too much there for the Waratahs. And what time are the Six Nations games? The first one is going to be at 3:15, not tonight, but the night after. And that is going to be the matchup taking place between France and Scotland. It's being played in Scotland for that game at Murrayfield, 3:15 a.m. The game after that is going to be at 5:45 a.m. and that will be the match between England and Wales. And then the game the next night is going to be 4 a.m. Ireland versus Italy. We are covering all 3 of those games on the channel. It's going to be some weird hours we are doing for ourselves, but we are also doing some more of the cricket, although not tomorrow, because the cricket will be overlapping a little bit too much with Super Rugby, and also I will need to sleep at some stage to prepare me for about my 35-hour day that I've got planned, which will be make or break. I feel like it will go all right. If I need to sleep, I'll sleep, but if I don't need to sleep, we'll keep on going. That's a bold prediction because the Welsh are brilliant. I predict a bonus point win for England, and there's Sebastian. Yeah, at the moment, England, they've got a very strong lineup. That man is having his pants almost pulled down, but it's working for them. Breaking off the back there. Alex Murphy almost off the rolling ball. No, just short of the line now around the side. Fraser McWright trying to slip his way towards the try line. They've got another advantage here for the Reds, who will be able to score the opening try of the match. Angus Scott Young shut down extremely early. Currently, Jordan Pattaya and Filippo Dalguna. I'm looking at those two out on the wing because that ball going to be held up round the side here once again. Getting closer and closer here for the Reds. And they get over the line so close for Angus Scott Young. And do they just use this backline? It's working well with the forwards, but the backline might be a good option. Definitely with the advantage that they've got. Lukan Salakai-Lotto shut down straight away. Oh, Harry Wilson having a bit of a wrestling match. In fact, it was Fraser McWright now. It's going to be James O'Connor. Cross kick here and behind. Goes to Jordan Pattaya and he scores a try there. And Jordan Pattaya gets the Reds their first try of the match. And it is going to be none other than Jordan Pattaya. He scores a lot of tries. And we will go like this. He's got a big vertical leap on him. Jordan Pattaya. We'll go like this. And Pattaya scores it in the 19th or so minute of this game. Just make sure we are on the right time. Yeah, about 19 minutes for this matchup. There we go. We'll go like that, and we will go like that. See, they would have been expecting a lot wider of a cross kick there from James O'Connor, but rather than going extremely wide to Dalgunu, instead went to Jordan Pattaya. It is absolutely bucketing down at the moment. They're hosting Italy at the Aviva. That should be a bloodbath. And now in England and Ireland games I'll watch. Says it was there from Shane. So I guess, Sebastian, France versus Scotland. Murrayfield. What is the prediction for that one? I said originally France should take it, but there's still like that Murrayfield factor that the Scottish do possess at their home ground. But now it's 10-0 in this one. And also we have got the Junji Esse try with it being 10-0. Jordan Pattaya doing very nicely, being able to get the one. The problem here at the moment, I would say, for the Reds is the fact that it's not actually a problem for them. The problem for the Waratahs is they have been pushing the Reds, but the scoreboard doesn't replicate that. It's 10-0. They need some form of points on the board soon, or else the Reds will start to try and build themselves towards that bonus point, maybe before the first half is even completely finished. It's kicked deep. Drop there by Angus Scott Young. It's an awkward one. Fell in front of him. And the Bay of Plenty representative in the Bunnings NBC has put that one down in France in there. And also Italy will beat Ireland at the Aviva. And also we have got there, we will see Jarvo. And that one for Nathan. And also who scored the try? It was Jordan Pattaya was able to pick up the try for the Reds of a cross kick of James O'Connor. Taking it nicely. Although it wasn't even a full cross kick. It was kind of maybe about a 2 or 3 man skip kick that he did end up going for. Jordan Pattaya jumped in the air and was able to take it very nicely. But now the Waratahs sitting here 21 minutes into this game. And they are only about 15 meters out from the from the Reds line here. It is pouring at the moment. The Reds, they have not had a game not affected by rain. And also I know the Scotland versus England game at Murrayfield. This time I'm going to say France by 6. No bonus point for France. And there's Sebastian liking it. Liking a close game. Hopefully it is a close game, as not just a runaway for either of the sides. Same with England versus Wales, but like you mentioned with England, the side that they have gone with there's a good chance that they might be able to drive their way towards getting at least a few tries in that matchup. Going to be a nice step forward here for the Waratahs once again. 10 metres out. Going back to Charlie Gamble, runner straight at Angus Scott Young, who will be aggressive after having that handling error. That does mean that his team are defending here. Jed Holloway tries to fire the ball back. Lucky one that just managed to find the hands of Gordon. Putting the halfback under a lot of pressure, though, with that type of offload. Going back once again now. Good step from Jed Holloway. Continues to make his way forward. Currently only 5 metres out. Charlie Gamble around the side. Getting closer and closer here for the Waratahs. They are using those big forwards rather than using their back line. And this one, what is happening with the Highlanders so far this year? I can't see them winning a game. I mean, I think it's just a little bit of getting used to the new players. Like, they've lost Josh Ioane. They also don't have C.O. Tompkinson in the back line. No Jonah Nareki, no Vilamoni Karoi, Pari Parkinson, no Ash Dixon. So those are some big names that they're missing for this season. And it will take a few games for them to really get acquainted with the new players coming through. That's close to the Reds. No, they didn't quite get the turnover. And the Waratahs now around the side, just crushing one of the props, I believe it was, for the Reds. He's been able to roll out there very nicely. No, does get penalised for not rolling away. That is brutal. Red one's got a roll. He tried his best there. The youngster, he just got unlucky. And also Waratahs looking good. There's Amy Spencer there. And also with the prediction. Oh. Okay. Okay. So Tate McDermott has now been warned. Any more offsides, someone's going to the bin. And although I'm a Reds fan or a Reds friend, I can still see all New Zealand teams beating Australian teams. Can't lie. Test tomato. So I guess, big question, top 8 go through. And this one, this is where we are sitting currently, other than the fact that the Crusaders now are sitting top. Who are your top 8? Who are the sides from Australia? I assume you're saying 5 New Zealand sides in the top. Who are your 3 other teams that are making it through? Do let me know, ladies and gentlemen. Or are you saying that 5 New Zealand sides will make it? Will the Highlanders, will the Hurricanes, will they all be able to make their way through to that top 8 also? Or could we see some upsets on the cards? Do let me know. We have got the IAMH as well. Welcome into the live stream, Scott. And also, like all teams, I'll be missing the crowd support. And there's Shane. I might as well give my whole set of predictions. France by 6, no bonus point. England by 12 with bonus point, and Ireland by everything a rugby game can offer. And there, one moment, we will go like this. Sebastian, I am going to hold you to those predictions. And if they are completely right, you win a cookie. Don't know how to send you a cookie, but you win one. When you're in New Zealand, have you ever been to New Zealand, Sebastian? Do let me know. I don't know whether you have. I don't think you've mentioned it before if you have, but if you ever made it to New Zealand, I will give you a cookie. And also, yo, says Nick in the chat, welcome into the live stream, mate. Hope you're doing well. Breaking off the back, that ball has gone backwards, and now that opens up. It's a try. And caught napping a little bit there for the Reds. They thought it might have been a knock-on, but instead, off the back, Will Harris scores it. And also, we have got there, you did not do it. And in there, it says, Nick, and you promised, bro. And there, I did not do it. You promised, bro. What am I promising? Oh, the WWE Royal Rumble stream. I was going to end up doing it, but I did mention if anyone ended up coming around on that day, I probably wouldn't actually get to watch it, although that was on one of the later ones. But yeah, we didn't get to do, we were going to possibly look at Elimination Chamber, but it was one of those ones we worked out that doing the commentary for something that like the commentators are specialists in, it always gets weird in terms of knowing what to say at the right time, like whether or not I do have to try and be Michael Cole or whether I do just get to sit back and kind of just watch it with letting you guys know who's going through. So it was always going to be a tricky one. We were thinking about maybe trying out a UFC one, might make it a little bit easier to see how to do the dynamic of commentary for those ones. But 25 minutes in, and that is going to be Harris now scoring the first try of the match for the Waratahs, making it 1 apiece. And we got Amish in there, says Nick. And also, I've been in the Southern Hemisphere once. I visited South Africa and Zimbabwe some years ago. In France by 30, Italy by 60, England lose by 100. And they're Crusaders, Chiefs, Reds, Canes, Brumbies, Highlanders, Blues, Force are my predictions. Crusaders, Chiefs, Canes, Highlanders. Okay, no, yeah, I've got all the sides there. So Reds, Brumbies, and Force. I would agree with that. The Western Force, I think they're a strong side this year. And also Crusaders, Reds, Blues, Chiefs, Brumbies, Hurricanes, Waratahs, and the Drua, says Nathan. So missing out on the Highlanders there and instead having the Waratahs and the Drua making their way through for the Force. and the Highlanders. They made like a very crisp noise, that sneeze. Like a but not really a more of a like other noise. Currently now, Hamish Stewart driving his way forward once again. You are silly if you think Rua make it. And there it says Hamish Spencer. Currently now passing it back. James O'Connor going to the short side. Jordan Pataia puts the ball down. Alex Murphy kicks it forward. It goes straight into the hands of Jake Gordon, who kicks it away. Now advantage will be over, so not the smartest move there from the halfback of the Waratahs. Now Josh Fluke going for the kick and chase. Looks like it is going to be skidding towards the in-goal area. Taken nicely by Alex Newsom. And that is going to be close to the touchline. It stays in the field of play. James O'Connor now on the halfway line, galloping back towards the defense. Hits the Algunu in the face, and it's worked out all right for him. Ball on the inside, trying to link up. Goes back to Pariki. Now Johnson owns out to Donaldson. It's just back and forth between these two sides, and now it's kicked in behind by Fugeti. And now instead, Pataia gets it, goes for the kick low. Could be a 50-22. He's kicked it out on the full. Also, did he get the conversion? Score hasn't updated. And there, score hasn't actually updated at all, has it? There we go. It has updated it now. He did end up getting it over. Sometimes my scoreboard just decides that it wants to have a nap. And Blues at 7th is surely not right. Blues should finish in the top 4 with that squad. And Highlanders will take ages to gel compared to other 4 New Zealand teams. It was them or Drua. And I wanted to be bold. And Highlanders will be like the Warriors making finals and also shocking kick. And thanks, appreciate it, says Timo. No worries, mate. Here we are going to be covering all the games tomorrow, including Fiji and Drua taking on the Brumbies. Hurricanes versus the Blues. This is a great run 4 from Charlie Gamble. And now Johnson Holmes to get a little bit of go forward as well for himself, the tight air prop. Now, once again, they're using their forwards extremely well here, the Waratahs. They know the conditions are not favourable for the backline movement, so they've gone right. It might not be as fancy looking as maybe a backline movement or a cross kick, but if we keep on in the forwards up here, we might be able to creep our way towards the try line around the side there. Dave Parecki tackle well by, I believe it was Fraser McWright. All bounces out the side now. Vachuaka gives it off. Alex Murphy now the man who is kicking it in behind. Interesting choice. But it's worked out all right. Ben Donaldson now having to take this one. I'm going to quickly have to blow my nose, unfortunately. That one's gone close down on the full, well trapped by Jordan Pataia. Donaldson kicks it for the touchline and does find it there. I think my hay fever hasn't gone this late in a day till now. Like I've been like to the evening, but this is getting relatively late for my hay fever to just keep on playing up. I guess it's quite polleny today. I guess. And also, what are your thoughts on the Reds team / squad? Strong team the Reds have got. And all they need is to just be able to put it together. Like that loose forward trio that they've got for themselves, very impressive. Their 19 combo of McDermott and O'Connor, their locks as well. It wasn't straight from Alex Murphy. And then having Tene Alatupo, even though he's injured at the moment, having him in there is just a huge benefit for themselves. And it is a squad that if they gel well, they have got the potential of being able to take down a New Zealand side or two along the way. We saw it throughout Super Rugby Pacific, and we might get to see it throughout Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, and we might get to see it for Super Rugby Pacific. Also, only in Australia, you see props doing clearing kicks, and there says Aaron Spencer. Yeah, I mean, Tene Alatupo, I can imagine him doing a chip and chase. In fact, I can't just imagine it. I think I've seen it in the past. Like, that man's got some good pace. And he does try and use it. And a lot of the players in the front row have really developed their speed. Like, in the last 10 years or so, a prop is no longer that guy who's just a big man who does the scrums and cleans out in the breakdown. Like, they have runs down the wing. As our thoughts on Boisami on the bench as well. Says Tomato there. Is he on the bench for this game? Or is he just not playing in this matchup? One moment, we all go like this. What do we got here? So they have got Creighton and Greeley. But yeah, having someone like a Hunter Boisami as a spear player is huge. Like Seru Uru off the bench, having him as just the option to unleash at about 60 minutes into a game where you've already got McWright, Wilson, and also at number 6 for this game, I'm going to forget who it is. It's Angus Scott Young. It's also there. So it's a good side. It's a good squad. And are you going to do streams? Are you going to do stream URC games? So says Kevin, I wanted to, although I will have to sleep at some point. So that will probably be my sleeping time, sadly. But we will be doing the Six Nations, and I will also be informing you guys of all the scores of the URC. I was looking forward to seeing Leinster versus the Lions. But yeah, due to sleeping, I think sadly it is going to overlap a little bit. And Blessa win Super Rugby over the Crusaders And there says Shane. Gordon goes back once again. Donaldson now firing it back. Little kick in behind. It hits straight into the boot, though. Oh, huge hit there on James Turner. And I believe it might have been Hamish Stewart who put in the big knock there. He's done nicely. He's winded himself almost there. The grubber ended up hitting the foot of Hamish Stewart. And then they both lined him up trying to drive him for the touchline, him and Alex Murphy. And it did work out quite nicely. Where are you from in New Zealand? I am from, I guess the easiest way to describe it from a rugby point of view is halfway in between the Highlanders and the Crusaders, kind of smack bang in the middle in between Dunedin and Christchurch. So it's probably about 2 hours 30 south, 2 hours 30 north to be able to get to Christchurch or Dunedin, which is why I'm pretty impartial in a lot of the Super Rugby games, because I can easily kind of support both sides. Newsom now carrying his way forward to the halfway line at the moment. It was a good clean out there from the Waratahs, kicking it inside of the 22 of the Reds. Now James O'Connor kicking it back now once again. Nice take. Firing it back across to Ben Donaldson. Looking for the kick in behind. Looking for the 50-22. Has he got it? No, not quite. It hits the flag. Do they want to take it quickly? They decide against it in the end. And Aussie lives on a tiny island. There says Amy Spencer. I guess if you think about it, New Zealand is a tiny island, isn't it? Compared to some of the Wellington Highlanders are from Otago, right? They are indeed. So yeah, I'm kind of halfway in between Otago and Canterbury, if you know your regions of the country. And Lucy win Super Rugby over the Crusaders, says Shane. Big question, Shane. Is that going to be the final that those two sides are playing off in, or will they meet in the semi or the quarter perhaps? And then it will be a different side. But Angus Bell now running hard. He ran backwards, and now he charges at the line. Great low tackle there from James O'Connor, though. Knowing exactly what you got to do. You got a big man down. The Waratahs, though, charging for currently 10 metres out. Jake Gordon goes back across. Charlie Gamble, the kick in behind. In fact, it was Donaldson, and now retreating Josh Fluke does clean it up. There's a lot of water there just off the pitch, and it is going to be now the goal line dropout for them. Currently, they're saying they did all the hard work. They stole it in the line out. Then from there, Angus Bell just runs backwards, straightens with the big run, and Southland. And there says Shane, but then Ben Donaldson kicks it in behind. And Josh Fluke was back there. In fact, Jock Campbell was able to clean it up. He lives in Auckland. Not quite. Oh, no. Angus Bell at the moment, he did a little bit of a goose step, and now looks like he has hurt himself. So hopefully he will be all right to continue. Who the Harlequins playing? And there says Kevin, who are the Harlequins playing this week? That's a big hit once again. I will quickly have a look and see who is playing who for Super Rugby. Good spin there. Newsom doing nicely for himself. In fact, I feel like the Quins question, if Sebastian is still here, he'll know it just straight away. Does know a lot about his Quins side. That's a nice little flick there from James Gordon. Not James Gordon, sorry, Jake Gordon. Now Gordon once again fires it back. Good movement of the ball. I guess so. That would test the ankle out a little bit more. Now Harry Johnson-Holmes once again continuing forward. Do you think I will see Jamie Roberts on? I think he will get about 20 minutes at the end forward. Pass there, very flat, and they will probably go back to check that one if we do have a try here for the Waratahs. Gordon goes back once again. It is going to be Jed Holloway still continuing to make a few more meters here for the Tars. Can they get through? It's going to be Donaldson goes back. Good footwork there from Foketi. Now 40 meters out, or in fact 20 meters out, sorry, for that one. And what league is the Harlequins in? They are in the Gallagher Premiership. So that is where they are going to be playing. In fact, I don't actually think we've got the Gallagher Premiership this weekend, do we? Now that I think about it. Or do we? No, we might. I might be making up stuff. I think they will be playing relatively soon. That one has bobbled because of it now. Queensland Reds, they have got Worcester in their game. And I see the Super League is back as well. CH Jane and Aussie, when I was going to New Zealand, we were going to see the Reds versus Highlanders in Otago. But it turns out the game was played in Fiji as a Highlanders home game, which was disappointing, says Tomato. Oh, so it's a home game for the Highlanders in Fiji. Interesting, because I know that those two played off in Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, and it's weird to think how much it's changed in the last maybe 3 years, the world. I remember 2019, I was in Melbourne for Christmas watching the Boxing Day Test match. 80,000 people watching New Zealand versus Australia. And that was just as there were starting to become reports of things happening in terms of cases and whatnot. And then we got home, and then from there, it's just continued to grow. For our Gallagher Premiership, Nathan, current champions, no need to applaud in there, says Sebastian. But yeah, they have got Worcester. How are they going to go up against Worcester, Sebastian? Do let me know. Do you know the lineup for that game as well? And hello, Sebastian. A New Zealand franchise will win the Super Rugby Pacific title. And there says Gita, there is a very good chance. But for the Harlequins, they have got Tyrone Green, Merley, Esther Hazen, Hugh Jones, also Danny Keir, Lauday, Louise Tizard, and also Collier, probably the main notable ones. And then Lewis Liner off the bench alongside Wilco Lowe. And I guess Allen is probably the other name. That is their halftime Crusaders Highlanders in my game as 10-7 and 21 carries by Angus Bell-Hoyton. And there, yeah, he's beast. He's an absolute beast, Angus Bell. Like having him and Taniela Tupou on the same field, on the same side of the scrum is scary. So it's probably lucky Taniela Tupou isn't out there, or else they would have been putting holes in the ground. Very big ones as well. I was in the zoo, says Shane, and also we have got there. So let me get this straight. Exeter is in the same league as them. Yep, the Exeter Chiefs are also in the Gallagher Premiership. Harry Wilson now breaking off the back. They're also in the Champions Cup, which we are going to be covering in the near future. Last year, the Highlanders played the Reds in Dunedin last year. Taking on the Highlanders had a good win. And there says Shane, they did indeed. First game of Super Rugby Trans-Tasman that we did get to see. A lot of people expected it to be a lot closer. Peach now with a good step. Does get driven backwards, though, by Hamish Stewart, who's trying to turn that ball over. Not quite able to. Jake Gordon now goes back. The Waratahs, that was a very late tackle. Great run by William Harris. Tries to find the offload. It is knocked on, though. And hello, Kevin. How's it going, mate? And there from Sebastian. But it's disappointing for the Waratahs, the way that they keep on building into this. And then just the handling here. That's got some looking forward to seeing how the Blues go tomorrow. Says Neil, and they've got a strong side, that is for sure, the Blues. They have got Roger Thorvasashek, Rico Ioane as the midfield. Going to be a very awesome one to see. Caleb Clark also in that lineup alongside Mark Talia out on the other wing. That's a good back line to be able to have. And then young Zan Sullivan actually slotting in at fullback. But we will be covering all of the games of Super Rugby tomorrow. Stole the premiership from Exeter. In the final, you can still hold the applause in there from Sebastian. But currently 36 minutes into this game. The Reds, they lead it by 3-0, but not the start to the match that they would have been expecting. They would have known that the Waratahs, after a win up against Fiji and draw, would have a bit of confidence. But they continue to go from strength to strength here for the Waratahs. And their attackers looked about 5 times better than the Reds in this one, other than that cross kick that they were able to get for themselves. Ball's been bounced out the back. McDermott dragged down nice and early. And he got back up, and it's a penalty there to the Waratahs. He was held. He got back up. And it is going to be the penalty. Harlequins are pathetic. Jesus, says Osetsa. And Islanders have played Chiefs in Fiji. And Shane Hayes not releasing 9 red there for Tate McDermott. They take the 3 points on here for the Waratahs. And we might be going into halftime sitting 10-all between these two sides, which is certainly not what anyone would have been expecting. But I would say the Reds bench is where this game is really going to get turned around. But the constant rain has also been affecting this one. It looks like he's done something to his left ankle here for Tate McDermott. Hopefully he is going to be all right. Is it ankle or knee? It might be knee here for McDermott, although he's squeezing his ankle. And I feel like that's always one of those ones, like when you end up getting an injury, like pretty much, like the last thing you want is someone to be squeezing the area that it's painful. And then they just do it anyway. And also we've got I miss Hamish Spencer. And it is Sebastian also. They kidnap Lewis Liner and release him. Says Hamish Spencer. I think it's more of the case of he just didn't want to play for Australia. Smart man. No, I'm joking. Australia doing very well at the moment. That is because Hamish Spencer is Australian and he also loves a good troll. But that is going over, and the score now going to be 10-all between these two sides. Okay, at the moment, they are chatting to Taniela Tupou. They're saying that they're doing very nicely around the ruck at this current time, but it is a shame that he is not playing for this match. Tongan Thor, he would have been a beast out there, but so far Pataya scoring 1 and Harris scoring the other. It looks like Tate McDermott's night will be over here. Doesn't look like he is going to be continuing this match. And also, how was the Highlanders versus Crusaders? I missed it, says Power Force. Very close. Do you want to know the result, Power Force, or would you prefer if I just tell you kind of along the lines of how the game went, but not with the score? And let me know, could you name some Harlequins players, Sebastian? There says Nathan Sim. I feel like Sebastian could name the whole squad. And yes, says Power Force. Yes, so I assume that's tell you the result. And if it's not, be sure to block your ears because I am about to say it. But the Crusaders, they ended up winning that game in the end for themselves. And it was a pretty good win. And, I'm just going to get the exact score for you so that I don't end up saying the wrong amount. But it was, in the end, 19 points to the Highlanders, 34 to the Crusaders. And 34-19 says Shane there in the chat. But Severus getting 2 tries early on. It was very close up until the final little moment. There was a little knock on there, though, from the replacement number 21. Not what he would have been wanting as soon as he makes his way out onto the field. But McDermott, assume he's going to end up with some ice on that leg, I should say. And in fairness for the Wallabies, I don't think that Lewis is better than Andrew Callaway, says Sebastian. Crusaders win, says Shane, and I'm good, Sebastian. Says Kevin there. I think it's just the way that he fell to McDermott. It did end up with an ankle injury. You hope he's all right, because he is one of the keys for the Reds. And all that is happening now is he just has to sit there in the rain as the captain on the sideline, watching, see whether or not his Red side can get over the line here. And what has been a challenging first half, only 30 seconds left, and the Waratahs are once again going to have the scrum feed. And Mint, Crusaders 13 plus, hopefully rest of the multi pulls through, says Taraka. So who else did you have in your multi? Taraka, do let me know. And how many legs is it? I feel like a multi is always one of those ones that if I ever tried a multi, I'd always fail on the final leg. And any NRL updates, I have got a couple for you. The Raiders were able to beat them ourselves, or they were able to beat the Manly Sea Eagles in that game. And at the moment, Sydney Roosters are sitting 8-0 up over the West Tigers. They are the 2 updates for it. And you ever had a perfect round on punts, bro? Nah. No. I would not listen to a word that I say when it comes to predictions, because I've never even been close. I always get something wrong. I've had a perfect score, I believe. In fact, I've had a perfect of who's going to score the first try, but nothing any close along those lines. Sure, Nathan, probably the most notable Marcus Smith, Joe Marchant, Joe Marler, Danny Keir, and Alex Dombrandt. And the Reds 1-12, Blues 1-12, Force 1-12, and Brumbies 13 plus. Says Taraka Brown. Okay, so how much? I mean, at the moment, the Reds are probably sitting not too badly. Front row collapsing against them there, though. Well, they won on Blues versus Hurricanes game is going to be interesting. Both teams has one from each team. Says Power Force, yeah, they always have a close fix to those two. And also, who's got the ball? Says Thomas, it is the Brumbies. Or sorry, not the Brumbies. They aren't playing in this game. They have got their game tomorrow against the Drua. But the Waratahs have now got themselves the line-out throw. And you need to do all games right. And there says Shane, yeah. And getting all games right, something I'm terrible at. Like, I can't even get one right, let alone, like, all of them. Like, for fun, I would probably end up deciding to put, like, a 1 cent multi on of 20 rugby games and just see if I can get it right. But I don't think I'd do any more than a cent, because I know that I'm probably losing that money. Now, Gamble trying to spin out of that challenge. Going nicely around the side. Kicks it into touch, and that will be a halftime. It's Bowden Barrett out. He is not playing for this game, but he should be back within the next couple of weeks, I believe. Go Red, says Connor, and also Hogg and the Simmons and Henry Slade. And there, and okay, see about Exeter is Stuart Hogg. And there it is indeed. And how close are they to scoring? They were about 20 metres out, but then just having the handling error, and that is going to be the end of the first half of action between these two sides. And it has been a fun first half, 10-all. About expected with the rain that is falling. I'm going to slightly slouch down so that you can see more of Forsyth Bar, but more of the case of I just wanted to be a bit more comfy. Just quite comfy, this seat. Like, I could easily fall asleep on this seat, and maybe one day for a live stream, I'll see if I can do it, but not this one. Got plenty more action coming for the near future. We'll get you guys some stats to do with that first half in regards of the Reds and the Waratahs. Currently a very even first half. And the Waratahs actually having 255 metres carried compared to the 77 metres carried of the Reds. 87 carries for the Waratahs, 23 for the Reds. Defenders beaten 10-2, 4-2 for the clean breaks. Everything in favour of the Waratahs here other than the scoreboard. Tackles 126. That's a lot for the Reds in the first half. And Blues versus Hurricanes is a hard pick. It is indeed. And who starts with the ball in the next half? I believe it will be the Waratahs will be kicking off to the Reds. And what stadium is this played? It is at Leichhardt Oval. So unfortunately, no roof on the stadium, which does mean everyone's getting very wet at the moment, including Daniela Tupou, who is currently injured. But he is actually under the roof. So that's quite good news. Well, that man, 6 penalties against the Reds in that first half. And they had quite a few offsides in a row. And if they had any more than likely they would have been going to the bin with someone going off. But now Josh Petch, in fact, it's James Turner I was looking at, did have a very good start to this match. 44 meters carried, I should say, with the 7 carries. And someone who needs a little bit of a praise is going to be, what is the stadium in this plate? And Forsyth Bar Stadium is an awesome stadium. That's why I still got it behind me. It was the stadium last time, and I was like, I'm just going to leave it up. I do enjoy the roof on it as well. But also Parisi, 23 meters carried, 7 carries, 3 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks, almost had the try in that one, but just not quite able to get himself over the line. Most meters run, James O'Connor for the Reds is sitting on top of the bunch. Tackles made, no real huge numbers for the Waratahs, only 5 for Gordon, for Gamble, for Williams, and also for Pareki. Then we look at the tackling numbers of the Reds, and at this point in time, they've got about 7 or 8 players who have reached double figures for their tackling stats. 10 for Hamish Stewart with a turnover 1, 13 for Fraser McWright with a turnover 1, 12 for Angus Scott Young, 13 for Lukan Salakai Lotto, 13 for Angus Blythe, 11 for Fotuaika, 13 for Alex Murphy, and then Zane Zander also having to make the 10 and bloody hell, Tate McDermott and Tupou out. But why couldn't that have been last week in there, says Xavier Round, and also Enforcer Bar, what happens if the ball hits the roof? I think it's play on or dead ball. Something along those lines. Any 7's coming up in 45 days, I did learn. That is the next 7's tournament. So we've still got a wee way, but it's the same time as the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup. And also Taniela Tupa for first 5. I would pay good money to see that. And also who's favourite to win now? Who do you think? And how long is break until second half, says Thomas. So one moment, we will go on the app, see the odds as they are sitting currently. I would say the Reds are still favourite to be able to win this game with the bench that they've got. But losing Tate McDermott and Taniela Tupa will not be easy for them in this matchup. There you go here. Waratahs versus Reds. It's a dead even split at the moment. Waratahs to win, paying $1.85. Reds to win is paying $1.85. That is huge for the Reds at this point in time, for them to only be the same as the Waratahs. But the Waratahs have played extremely well in this match. In fact, the Waratahs to win by 1-12 is actually paying more than the Reds to win by 1-12, or paying less, sorry. And I got 6 from 6 to start the season. Xavier, so who did you predict for this game, Xavier? I assume you predicted the Reds for this matchup, and such good performance from South Africa first innings today, Hamish, says Kevin. Yeah, they have been going very nicely in that test match, and hopefully we do get to see a lot more of the action in the later stages. The big question here is who is going to be able to make the big difference for both of these sides. I'm looking through at the starting lineups and reserves. Who can do it? Something's telling me Harry Wilson is a good pick for some reason. I think Harry Wilson gets himself in the right spot and scores a try. We'll go with that anyway. We'll try and predict that Harry Wilson scores the first try of the second half. That is my prediction there, to see whether or not it is going to be correct. But currently, we've only got a couple more minutes till we get to the second half, as how long until the second half starts. So probably about, I'd say 5 minutes maximum here till we are underway. And also, but I think Tars win from here. I tip the Reds, says Xavier. And also, we have got their Women's World Cup, New Zealand versus Auckland. Also, New Zealand versus Australia final. The one would be a pretty awesome one. And in 2019, the Crusaders were supposed to change their name, but they changed the logo. This says Power Force. Yeah, instead of the Crusader in the logo, they did instead change it to the, I want to say the name of it, but I feel like I'll get it wrong. But it is the Maori symbol, I believe. And also we have got there Jolie Vidiri passed away today as well. Was he also rugby union, David, or was he a different sport? Do let me know. But geez, not a good day at the moment. Currently the Reds and the Waratahs 10-all at halftime. Very close for themselves. We'll hide that once again. I don't know what's up with that one piece of hair that's decided that it wants to get involved. It thinks that I'm Superman, but I'm just trying to tuck it back up there and hope that it doesn't pop out. That sounds interesting. Halftime 10-all. 1 try for Pataya, 1 try for Harris also. Currently, both of these sides, they want to be able to get themselves the win because they are both sitting decently on the table. Michael Checker, he is actually on the commentary side of it at the moment by the looks of it. And they are just having a bit of a discussion about what is happening in this game between the two sides, the Reds, and also, I mean, the Waratahs are playing well, ex-All Black in their Vidiri. So how long ago was that? And how recent was that, David, that it did happen? And Crusaders had to change the logo. Is Vunivalu playing? He is not for this game. The name will the Crusaders, Christchurch Knights, if they name changed in the SS Power Force. So I guess they decided they'd stick with the Crusaders, or stuck with the Crusaders name. In the end, currently, it's going pretty nicely here between these two sides, for the Waratahs, that is. They have had dominant position, dominant territory, also having more of the line breaks, more of the running meters, but that score says that it's still very even between the two sides, and perhaps we will be going long into this game with it being extremely close. Okay, they have just actually mentioned about the two All Blacks greats. See, I think they only mentioned one player earlier on, but I could be wrong. Like they're saying, Inga was actually the Jonah Lomu before Jonah Lomu broke onto the rugby scene. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have got 3 games tomorrow, I should mention, as well. The Brumbies taking on the Fijian draw, also happening tomorrow. We have got the matchup that has taken place between the Blues and the Hurricanes. That will be an exciting game. And then the Rebels taking on the Western Force as another matchup that we have got taking place. A moment. There we go. I was just having a look at something. And then Blues, or sorry, not the Blues, the Chiefs versus Moana Pacifica. It's been postponed. Sadly, we won't get to see that match take place, which is always a real shame. But this is the table, the way that it's sitting at the moment, although the Crusaders are now sitting in first after their recent win over the Highlanders. So they are sitting in first, Waratahs in second, Reds in third. So whoever loses the game, even if they get a bonus point, that will still work their way towards being able to make it into the top 8 of the competition. He played for Counties with Jonah. He started playing in the mid-90s in there, and he knows what the All Blacks draw will be this season and where will the games be. I believe I can tell you a little bit of information about it in terms of the dates that the games are taking place, if that does help you out a little bit, but nothing really, I don't think, to do with the times or location at this point in time. One moment, we'll go down. Where is the Rugby Championship? There it is. 163 days till the first game of the Rugby Championship, and that will be South Africa versus New Zealand. That's actually going to be at Mbombela Stadium. So we have actually got South Africa in South Africa on the 7th of August. That is the first game that we will see. Then South Africa versus New Zealand. It's going to be at Joburg for that second match at Emirates Airline Park the week after. And then 2 weeks after that, we are going to be venue to be confirmed up against Argentina for 2 games back-to-back. And then we're back taking on Australia. And that is going to be confirmed as well. So we've got a few games confirmed, which are 2 South African derbies that we will get to see. And also, I finally won my first game of Rugby Champions, 24-14 against the Highlanders. Scott Barrett, Sarah Reese, Whainanoko and Havili score. And that no Vunavali was not playing. No, he is missing from this game, unfortunately. But I can tell you who else is on the bench for this match. And that is going to be a man by the name of... Where is he? There he is. Going to be Jamie Roberts for the Waratahs, but they've got Matt Greeley. Did actually get to play a little bit for... I want to say he was playing for Tasman in the Bunnings NBC. I could be wrong there, but it looks like a familiar name. Was it Matt Greeley who was playing for them, or was it a different Mac? Mac? Not sure. I know Mackenzie Hansen, he is playing for another side at the moment, isn't he? But currently, I would say another 2 minutes till we get back underway for this game between the two sides. 10:44 p.m. here in New Zealand. Those times for those other games taking place were all for New Zealand times, as I will mention. So if you are in Australia, you're probably taking a couple hours off that, depending on the region you're in. If you're in Western Australia, you've got a nice early mid-lunchtime game between the Brumbies and Fijian Brewer, and also a nice early afternoon game between the Blues and the Hurricanes. Then we've got the Six Nations we are also doing, and I know you're thinking Macaspringer. That is the name that I was thinking of. Wait, what was this guy's name? Matt Greeley, wasn't it? No, never mind. Although he also, I think I've seen him recently, and he's decent. Matt Greeley, if I'm not wrong. Quite a feisty, or not really feisty, but quite a gritty player who is willing to throw his body on the line if he needs to. And not even close, you think of Macaspringer for that one as well. But currently now, we've got car ads, which normally when we've got car ads means that we are very close to the game getting back underway. But do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, first try of the second half, who is going to be scoring it next week. I might try a multi for the rugby, says Shane. And depending what you go through, I know from looking at all the odds and everything on the TAB, I think they've got a thing how if you place like a 4-leg multi and miss out by 1, you get your money back as a bonus bet that you can use again. 6 legs gives you 2 legs that you are allowed to get wrong. And then after that, it is going to be the 8 legs and you're allowed to get 3 wrong or something along those lines. Currently interviewing the Waratahs assistant coach. And like they're mentioning, it was 10-0 extremely early on in this match when we did see Jordan Pattaya end up picking up that try. So 19 minutes in, it was 10-0, 2 missed kicks from the Waratahs. Whether or not those do come back to haunt them in the later stages of this game, we will have to wait and see. But it looks like Angus Bell, is he going to be continuing this game? Probably the big question, because injuries have been huge. 7 plus phases, 5 for the Waratahs so far, compared to the 1 that we've seen from the Reds. Carries 89 compared to 24. Broken tackles 15-0 for the Waratahs. Carry meters, they have had more than 4 times the carry meters of the other side in the Reds. And they will be trying to well and truly continue it in the next little while. But Ben Donaldson, he's going to be a key alongside Jake Gordon for the second half, because if they can get this right, they have got an opportunity to beat them. And love the discount. State of Origin match as well. And there says marking as Australia versus Pakistan going ahead. I believe so at this stage. I haven't heard anything else as of yet. But I would assume Australia are almost already in Pakistan with the match only taking place in 7 days' time. So I'm not too sure where they're located at this current point in time. I assume the games will take place, but it is always hard to tell right up until the final moment. Definitely with case numbers and also what is going on in the world at the moment. But halftime, 10-0 between these two sides. We have had 36 tries so far in this competition, which is $18,000 raised for the Red Cross Pacific Tsunami Appeal. So it is a great cause. And more tries, the better in this one. And currently now the Waratahs and the Reds making their way back out there. Will Harris is looking like a very concentrated man at the moment. Jake Gordon leading out aside. And it is also James O'Connor leading out the Reds. And I believe he will take the captaincy now due to that injury of Tate McDermott. Maybe co-captain with one of the loose forwards in either Fraser McWright or Harry Wilson, I think might be the other man that they might consider doing the co-captaincy with. But currently at Leichhardt Oval for the next match, the next half of this match, I should say, it's going to be Xander Murphy and Fotuaika as the front row. No Taniela Tupou due to injury just before the start of this match, but an unchanged starting lineup, I believe they have gone with here. Well, they are saying it's unchanged for the Reds, but we know that McDermott is currently off the field with an injury. So it's almost unchanged other than Jean's now out there on the field. And also it seems that the number 16 has also made his way out there. I believe that is going to be one moment. We will go like this and we will go like that. That is Josh Nassar has made his way out there. Currently now getting ready for the second half of Australia. Big crowds. How are their COVID numbers? I think they had a big ramp up recently, but now it's kind of, I want to say it's calmed down. I haven't seen too much about numbers-wise of the Australians. So I assume it is kind of all right. Who wins from here? I will go with the Reds because the Waratahs, they've had so much possession and so much dominance in that first half, and to not be leading at this point in time, I think will be a little bit disheartening for them. The Reds now, I'm going to be a brutal man. I'm going to say the Reds win by more than 10. And this one, James O'Connor now trying to run it out. Good tackle almost made by Jed Holloway. Little chip and chase there from O'Connor. The ball doesn't quite sit up for him. And now the Waratahs have got this one back. Pareki going back across. It's a loose ball here. And we jumped on there by Alex Newsom. Passes it on the outside out to James Turner there. Dragged down by Jordan Pattaya trying to push him into touch. And g'day, Xavier Brown. And there from David the Mod currently still protecting this ball here for the Waratahs. But the position, if they can keep a lot more of it, the Waratahs, I can see them winning this game, almost able to turn it over. Just missing out. Now going back. The ball's gone high from Ben Donaldson. That's gone backwards, almost. And it's going to be bouncing up for Filippo Dalgunu. Does end up dropping that ball, but I believe the original knock-on advantage. Oh, okay. All wrestling match between Will Harris and also Angus Scott Young. Everyone getting in there for the breakdown, and this looks like it's about to be kicking off between these two sides. It's looking slippery out there. Currently, I'm not too sure who it was who jumped in there, but you got to be careful jumping in. And does Callaway play for the Rebels? He does, although he isn't going to be playing in the upcoming game, I don't believe. See, I would have called that a knock-on. And from there, bit of a wrestling match between Harris and Angus Scott Young. And then it became a breakdown. I think they thought that the ball was still in there, or one of the players might have just joined in for fun. Oh. Hey, Harris, a little bit of a cheap shot in the ribs there of Angus Scott Young by the looks of it. But they are going to be continuing and punch on in there, says Taraka. So I guess, I mean, if we're talking about the Union version of State of Origin, they would have been throwing hands big time for that one. If that was 5 years ago, even if it was 10 or 10 years ago, they would have well and truly been going for it. Bring back the biff. And there says Taraka. Currently 41 and a half minutes through this game. You've still got plenty of time left, and it is going to be the scrum feed for the Waratahs. Are going to be looking to try and find their way over the try line multiple times here. James O'Connor, he's got a hair in his mouth, and it is bothering him while he is waiting to defend up against the scrum of the Waratahs, or the set play, I should say. It's going to be a good push forward penalty to the Waratahs. And once again, Angus Scott Young just having a bit of a chat with, I believe that time he was lining up the number 6. Oh, it was actually almost, yeah, the two kind of went into each other there. And they are well and truly happy with it. Charlie Gamble, that is a mustache and a half that man possesses. It's over now. The Waratahs kicking it for Dutch for Ben Donaldson. Spinning spiral punt downfield. And now Angus Bell. Is he making his way off the field? No, he's still running about Angus Bell. He's been impressive throughout this game, even though he is hurting. He's got a sore leg. He's just continuing to be the first man pretty much every single time to the line out, to the breakdown, trying to keep that momentum going for the Waratahs here. Currently now, Pareki have this throw. 22 meters out. Does go to the front. Not straight, as they're called. Disappointing there for the Waratahs. And I think Angus Scott Young is right on the verge of snapping at the moment, the way he's playing. Also, when betting on sport, it's hard to pick. Says Shane, exactly right. Like, I'm terrible at my predictions for anything, let alone like something that's so unpredictable. Like cricket and rugby for me are probably not the most unpredictable sports in the world, but they're still very, very, very tough to be able to decide on what's going to happen. Like, you never know. You'll see an upset of the century every once in a while, or you see a team have a bad day and the other team can capitalize. These games were almost like Origin games years back, but their teams were expanded and I believed thinned the talent out. Says David the Mod there. Yeah, because they have got the 5 Australian teams, don't they? As the current time's gone down to the front row, and we are going to have another scrum reset. Currently, it's a pretty big stalemate at the moment at scrum time. I mean, both front rows really talking a lot of smack by the looks of it. And the scrum, Josh Nash there getting right in the face of it was, I believe he's still up against Pareki rather than Tom Horton will be coming off the bench in the later stages of this one. But currently 44 minutes through, so we have had about 4 minutes used up from just scrums and everything in the last little while. But hopefully start-stop does end up ending in a short little while. They are set. Putting the ball in for the Reds. It's a big push from the Waratahs. I believe Angus Bell was trying to lead the charge there. Going back into the hands of Hamish Stewart, who now finds the clear and kick downfield. It's good distance on it, taken nicely by Newsom, though. And now looking for the counter-attack. Kicking it in behind. That looks close to out on the full, and it sure is from Alex Newsom. So big mistake. And also, you should use Super Brew, Hamish. And there says Nathan, I think Super Brew would just prove to me how bad my predictions really are. And instead of me just saying them and everyone forgetting about them, they'll be there forever. Just saying how badly I predicted all the games. And yeah, they just had the 3 back then. And yeah, so that would have been Brumbies, Reds, and Waratahs, I guess, was it? Were they the 3 teams? Maybe. I think it was. They almost touched a little bit. Now sitting up for James Turner. Does kick it for the touchline. He's really not struck that one the way that he wanted to. Taken nicely there by James O'Connor once again. Now Jock Campbell for a bit of a counter run here. The Reds are trying to break their way through. Can they do so? Running forward now. Jordan Pataya with a nice step. Trying to go straight through the gap. It's very hard to get your footing here. Oh, playing the halfback. Unfortunately, they were saying it's just not quite out there. And I think that is going to be Jeff Cridge who was penalised for that one. Or is it Jed Holloway? Oh, okay. I would say that that's unfortunate for whoever that was coming through. I think it was Jed Holloway, because the ball was actually I would say debatably out. And yep, the Brumbies there, says David the Mod. Currently, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak through here and I'm going to grab myself a nice wee drink. Well, it's out, but the penalty conceded. Seems like maybe the momentum could be shifting here. It's going to be a long kick opportunity here for James O'Connor. Not an easy one in these conditions with the rain and the wind. And also, the Aussie teams I would pick would be the Brumbies or the Reds to win the comp. Cheers, Shane. For some reason, I also think the Western Force can sneak their name into that group. I know they're not quite the same as the Brumbies and the Reds, but something in that Western Force camp just seems to work. That's gone over from James O'Connor, and that is now going to make the score 13 points to 10 in favour of the Reds. Currently very happy with that one. A man in the crowd, and also what I really want to see is Argentina competing on a club level as well, if they form, or in the form of Jaguares, such a a disservice of what happened to that club, which reached the Super Rugby final in 2019. Yeah, I wish they had some competition to take part in. Because it doesn't seem right that they don't have a domestic one. I think they're one of the only countries who don't have their own domestic team type thing in some sort of international competition. And hey, Hamish, maybe the light issue you had today, wasn't so much the lighting, but the sun, says David the Mod. It's a good question because it's kind of still doing it now. It seems to be very shiny for some reason, but hopefully it does end up sorting itself out before tomorrow, or if I change the lighting back, maybe it will end up sorting it out because I've actually got a ring light on a tripod here rather than my umbrella light that I do have. And let's go Force as well. The bro, Tamati Ellison is there, or in there. Says Taraka there. Taken nicely by the Waratahs, who are currently 3 points down at this current point in time. Going to be charging forward once again. Jake Gordon gets that ball on the oval. That beautiful run here for the Waratahs. Step from Newsom. Ball on the outside. He steps back on the inside though. Still stepping sideways. No one can tackle him. Finds the offload to Harry Johnson-Holmes. They've got numbers on the outside. Jordan Patai, has he been taken out? No. Maybe not going for the corner now. He goes out. And he doesn't get it down there for the Waratahs. Oh, and all tensions are starting to boil over once again. They are all not too happy with that one. I don't think he got it over. And also, I'm assuming the SLAR isn't competitive enough, although the URC is close since it's a more favorable time zone. And there, everyone's still pushing and shoving. They're right on the side of they're pretty much in a camera at this point in time, the players. They're not happy with something that happened there. This was a brilliant backline. Gordon went straight to Newsom. Then on the outside, he had Petch with him. Step back because he felt that Dalgunu was going to be able to catch him. Ran straight sideways. Harry Johnson-Holmes with a good pass. And then from there, it was the wide cutout pass. And by the looks of it, as soon as Pataya went down, it looked like that was going to be the end of it. But brilliant tackle from Josh Fluke to be able to stop him. Handbags is an historic win. I like the Sunwolves because we would see 80-17 and a historic win over the Waratahs. And be good when New Zealand and Australia teams plays there, Shane. Yeah, and it should be coming hopefully within the next couple of months. Fingers crossed. Donaldson with a great wide cutout pass out to James Turner, who went for the corner, but he just got isolated a little bit too much. Wasn't able to cut his way back in. And then there was push and shove. I see Isaiah Parisi straight in the middle of it. And it was just everyone boiling over a little bit. No one likes getting pushed around. And I think they ended up falling down big time. Right, what do we got here? Okay. So, the answer to that one is going to be pretty much penalty after for Jed Holloway flying in and running in from way back. So he gets himself into trouble, and the penalty now goes in favour of the Reds. And also, we have got the Hamish Wares, Mark Nawaqanitawasi. I don't believe he is going to be playing for the next week or two. He might be injured for Nawaqanitawasi possibly. But yeah, plenty of push and shove between a couple of the players, including Jed Holloway, who went flying in to Angus Scott Young, who I mentioned earlier on might be close to the verge of snapping. He's probably getting even closer now, although he is going to have to make sure he's on his best behaviour because the referee has said any more of that from either side and you're off. I was talking about Super Rugby, and they said Shane Hayes, I was as well for that one. I think it is still about a month and a bit away because we do see 10 rounds of rugby before we see either New Zealand or Australian sides take on each other in the Trans-Tasman League of the matches, just because they are going to have 5 New Zealand games plus another 5 New Zealand games in a row, and then they do go over. So we have got about a 10-week, probably another 2 months or so before we do get to see it take place. Oh, okay, Jeff Cridge just fell over, and it looks like it's something relatively serious, possibly. Forgetting now, being dragged down. That was an awkward fall for him. He is being dragged down now. Oh, that's a hammy done by the big man. Passes the ball into him. Scrum your ball. And the referee said, I'm not going to award that. He pretty much just threw it into the guy who was injured. So because of it now, they only get themselves a penalty. They say maybe it should have been the penalty to them. Nah, he's all good. 13-10. The Reds. Yeah.
You got your exclusive graph back. It was a Royal Rumble 22 card. Harland or something.
I see.
And you're on Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm. Well.
No.
All right. Currently now, it was, I think that was Jeff Cridge who ended up getting a little bit of a twisted knee, and straight away he went down for it. And also, so it's been like last year's comp. And there says Shane, also be like last year's comp. Yeah, pretty much. So it's almost like we're getting our mini Super Rugby Aotearoa and Super Rugby AU, and then they're combining for Super Rugby Trans-Tasman at the end of the competition, but also with finals. Jeff Cridge, he's going to be going off the field now, replacing him. It is going to be Max Douglas here. He does have the opportunity, but currently 30 minutes into this game, or 30 minutes left, I should say, but Harry Hoffett also off the field, and that is for Dane Zander, who is going to be replacing him. Or Dane Zander off the field, sorry, Harry Hoffett making his way out there, and Suru Uru on for Angus Blythe. Oh, that's an interesting change because they have got Ryan Smith as an option for the Reds also. So maybe Suru Uru, having him in the locking department just because they've got so many loose forwards that they could use for themselves. Currently now the Reds 13 points to 10 currently. Does end up not putting the ball in. The Waratahs win the penalty. And now 40 metres out, do they take on the 3 points? We have seen Donaldson being a bit 50-50 with the kicking so far throughout this matchup. And also does Hooper play for the Waratahs? He does, although I don't think he's going to be there for them until the later third of the season. I think I heard someone say a little bit earlier on. Penalties conceded, though. 8 against the Reds. At the moment, Taniela Tupou is loving the fact that the camera's on him currently, but they will be going for the 3 points. It's going to be a close game. Harry Johnson-Holmes, he has been working hard in that front row. I believe maybe Ryan Smith won't be too far away from getting his opportunity. And doesn't Uber play for the Waratahs, although that's Harry Hoffett, who we are talking about possibly for Hoffett with the T on the end. In the propping department as well. Very big boy. And he's been going all right so far throughout his Super Rugby. And also, isn't he injured? And there says Shane, I heard it's either injuries keeping him out till the last third or something's happening for him. But that's going over. And now the score will be 13-all between these two sides. And we get just a little bit closer to the end of this matchup. This one could easily sway in either side's direction. But Jamie Roberts on the touchline, he will be ready to go in the later stages of the game for the Waratahs. But it is so important for both of these sides not to give away too many penalties. It seems like Jeff Cridge now getting some ice put on that calf region, I believe it is. Jeez, that doesn't look too good for Cridge. It's going to be taken nicely there by the Waratahs. It was once again Jed Holloway was able to take it. Now just outside of their own 22, Gordon goes back across to Harry Johnson-Holmes, who has had a very impressive game here for the Waratahs. Trying to find the box kick by the looks of it here for Gordon. Instead, actually passing it back to Donaldson. Does put boot to ball. Does kick it down the middle of the field. Taken nicely there by Jock Campbell. We haven't seen too much of him so far throughout this match. Kicks it in behind in the territory game. Both sides just hoping that the opposition make the mistake. Although now Donaldson is able to kick this one downfield and to touch. And that will be about 40 meters out now. And it will be the Reds who have got themselves the line out throw. So currently both sides scoring 1 try. Both sides getting 2 penalties over. Waratahs missing 2 penalty opportunities, though, in the earlier stages of the first half. And so for either side to be able to get themselves a bonus point, theoretically, they will have to score another 3 tries for either of them. Ball gone over the top. And the Waratahs have once again got that one little bit of a miscommunication there from Josh Nasser and the Jumpers. Now going back across to Harry Johnson-Holmes. They've still got the advantage for the original knock-on. Okay, I'm liking the fact that the referee is not willing to give away the penalties in the breakdown, and because of it, almost now he has given away the penalty for the side entry there against the Reds. And now Salakai Lotto just going past him. And it seems like Jake Gordon is also currently having a few problems with a few of the big forwards of the Reds. It seems like a very pushy, shovey game at the moment. And also we have got the how do you think day 2 will play out? I think New Zealand, they take a few more early wickets, but I think South Africa probably have about a lead of 380 before they get bowled out. That one hasn't found touch. It's going to pull up in the in-goal area, though. Does have to put it down for the goal line dropout. And that's probably the worst case scenario almost, other than a kick going right in the corner. That was the other worst case scenario, is now they've got a goal line dropout back out into the hands of the Waratahs. 55 minutes into this game at the moment. And the Waratahs are still continuing to really pour on the pressure on the Reds. And I will say the Waratahs probably deserve to win this game almost from here because of the way that they have played. They've just fought extremely hard, and it would be very unfortunate for them to lose this game by more than 7 points, let alone lose it at all. The way it's going, that's gone out. Wait, that's gone out on the full. What does that mean? Is that a 5-meter scrum? Yeah, it is. Scrum 5 meters out now. It's actually the first time we've seen that. And Hooper isn't injured. He's on holiday. And now I did hear someone say about that he was taking a bit of time off because he was going to be originally. He isn't playing in Japan, is he? For the Japanese top league. Currently, Creighton now making his way out there. And that's going to be for Jordan Pataya, who is going off the field. He was able to score himself the first original try of this matchup. But currently, the Reds, they are sitting 13 all. Jordan Pataya almost got a little bit of a limp, but he'd be disappointed not to be involved so often. And also, we have got the may have a look at Central Stags versus Auckland game. And there's Seth Jane, and also interesting, and can tell how really good and intense this game is, whenever there are argy-bargy involved, aka handbags, and there's Sammy Sosa. And I think it's because both sides know the difference in the second half is going to be only a little tiny bit of momentum. And Jock Campbell, he got that one wrong. And now it does lead to the opportunity for the Waratahs. 5 meters out with a scrum. This is an impressive position to have themselves here, the Waratahs. Currently, if they score this, you'd say that it's going to be very tough for the Reds to be able to fight back in this game as well. But the Waratahs, they are proving this year that they are one of the teams who are certainly one to look out for. Going to be going off the back. Ball popping up now. It's going to be Jake Gordon back to Ben Donaldson. A little bit of an overlap there between the two players, and it's stolen by the Reds in the breakdown. That was before he even hit the ground as well. Now rushing forward here for the Waratahs, trying to get this ball back as soon as physically possible. But it is still going to be on the side of the Reds, and they will be able to clear their lines at that game. 10-30 charge down there by the Waratahs. And they have now got the backline opportunity, run straight at one of the big men there. I believe that was Harry Hoffett who made the tackle. That was a blown opportunity there for the Waratahs. Can they make up for it here and get themselves a few more phases? Harry Johnson-Holmes, penalty to the Reds. Push and shove from Parecki, and now everyone's going to try and break it up here. Could there be a penalty? Or maybe a yellow card coming very soon. Sorry, I'm back. My niece has just drawn arguably the drawing that Mankind has ever seen as not even worthy for the bin. I must bury it 10 meters under the ground. Oh, that's brutal. If you got a photo of it. The thing is, like, I'll see it and I'll probably be like, geez, that's a lot better than I could probably draw. How old is your niece? So, is she the one on TikTok that you did mention ages ago? Was that game 30 to or 10:30 live on Spark Sport? Says Shane, but currently still the push and shove, the argy-bargy as it has been called so far in this match. Kick downfield from the Reds. Currently still 22 minutes left in this game. There's still time for multiple tries to be scored if both sides take their opportunities and grab it with both hands. But the big thing is, you got to be able to get the win. And this game at the moment, it seems like it's only going to be split by a couple points possibly. Currently hiccuping, which is not what you want at a random hour. I think it's because I drank some water and then my body was like, hey, hydration. Ryan Smith, BG drinks a bit of water. A lot of people do. And she's three. And when the archaeologists of the future discover it, hopefully they'll think it was drawn by an alcoholic with a grudge. And handbags are usually, as usual, yet again, much better than state of origin there, says Sammy Souza. Most sides certainly bringing the passion to the table here. Going to be passed back by Spencer Jeans to Harry Wilson. He was the player that I mentioned would be able to break this game open here for the Reds. Is that going to be the case though? And scrap in there, says Taraka. And also, when's the Central Auckland, or where's the Central versus Auckland game being played? Oh, it's a good question. Not actually too sure. That's a knock on there. Taken nicely by Fraser McWright. And now the attacking opportunity for the Reds has now opened up once again. Fired back for James O'Connor, looking for the cross kick. It's charged down though by the Waratahs. James under pressure, and they're going back for the original penalty. Okay, it's the original knock-on advantage. Tell you what, that was a lot of pressure though from the Waratahs. That's twice in a row that the ball has been charged down when the Reds have tried to go for the kick. But we'll have a quick look and see where that game is going to be for Central Stags versus Auckland Aces. It's just a juggle there. You can't afford juggles at this point in the game. It was charged down. That was literally a single hand of Jed Holloway up in the air, smacks it down. Chance to see Ross Taylor again. And there says Shane. And yeah, it will be pretty awesome seeing him up against Martin Guptill. But second half possession more for the Waratahs. Angus Scott Young looking like he is down with a bit of an injury at this current point as well. One moment, we will go through. It is going to be played. Where's the super smash? There it is. Central Districts versus Auckland for the one-day Ford Trophy. It is going to be taking place at John Davies Oval, Queenstown. So where the game is taking place. So I believe, if I'm not wrong, that is also the same location as we saw the women's versus India women's game. I believe for New Zealand versus India. But Jamie Roberts at the moment, he's sitting on the sideline waiting for his opportunity. Angus Scott Young, he is off the field, and that is going to be Ryan Smith now making his way out there. So I guess make the decision a lot easier of who they were going to be taken off for Ryan Smith to make his way out. And I assume now Suru will transfer back into that loose forward jersey, and then Ryan Smith will position himself at lock for this game. But it's still pouring down at this current point in time. At the moment, my phone is on 2%, and I don't have a charger. That is also unfortunate. But what can you do? Other than, I guess, let it go dead, but then charge it later. And I'll say, how you been, brother? Says Russell. Russell, sorry. I said Russell there, didn't I? Yeah, I've been very good. Plenty of rugby, plenty of cricket on. And as long as the voice is still lasting, going to be a very, very exciting time for us on the channel. Currently now driving forward once again. Suru passes the ball back out to Spencer Jeans. Ryan Smith, first carry of the match for that man. Still going to be just on the side of the Reds. Harry Wilson, good attacking run there. Running straight at the opposition. Suru holding the man down now. James O'Connor goes back across to Fotuaiku, who had to slot in to their number 3 jersey. That's going to be a turnover for the Waratahs, and it is. Sebastian Gurama harsh, but sometimes it has to be said. And there's this flesh in there. And also, she's now eating a carrot as if she earned it. The honour of our family is in danger here. I'm impressed she can. I mean, when do teeth come through? I feel like a carrot's a hard mission, isn't it? Probably more impressive eating the carrot than the drawing, maybe. Or don't eat the drawing. That's probably at the same time as the test. Says Shane, it is indeed. I feel like that would scar a child if she was like, look at my drawing, and you just grabbed it and ate it. It does over 17.5. It's a hard one to say. And also 0.8. Says Dean, so that would be each dollar you put on, you get $1.80 back, I assume. Leon and Nongora are going to be out on the field. That is for Fotuaiku. Only the Waratahs, though, sitting just outside of the 22 other Reds. Harry Johnson-Holmes offloads it backwards. Gordon now passing it back across. They've used those big forwards to their advantage here. It's a good drive forward. And Lukan Silikai getting out of the way of that breakdown. Jake Gordon now offloading it back. Donaldson, quick hands from Fakiri. Perezi trying to get himself through the gap. It's dragged down by his opposite number, Joshua Fluke. Now going back across. Angus Bowie's still out there. And it's another advantage for the Waratahs. This could be a big one for them. Passing the ball back once again, trying to just bulldoze their way forward. Close to a knock-on the ground there. Now Gordon goes back, sells the dummy, goes himself straight into Siruru, which is not the man you want to run into. And also have the teams been named for the final. And there says Shane, I think they normally name their squads probably by about now, but it's normally just ahead. They're going for the drop kick here for the Waratahs. He has got it. And now the Waratahs leading 16-13 here over the Reds. Brilliant start to the match here. And also just continuing to build up that pressure. The Reds will get a bonus point at this point in time. It does sit this way. But yeah, normally they do announce the side about 30 minutes once they do have the toss. That is when you know exactly who's going to be out there. And also we got that Rip Inga and Videri, two All Black great wingers. And there says Russell, and yeah, the chances of them both passing away on the same day seems very, I guess, rare, but like it's just a tough day for the All Blacks in terms of losing two legends. That's gone close to out on the full. I think it just stayed in the field of play though for James O'Connor, and he's not too happy with it from Faketi and RB indeed of those two legends. And also we have got the other fingers crossed from Dean, so he has gone for it. Hopefully he didn't put too much money on it. Hopefully it's only a little bit. And also hi from Jesper Detoy. And there, welcome into the live stream. Hope you're doing well, mate. And also you will be very impressed with how South Africa have started that test match, sitting 238 for 3 after the first day of play. It's going to be taken there by the Reds. They've got the knock-on advantage here as well. Now Harry Wilson, big attack and run from him. And it'd be more, it'd be like Eddie Manua. It must be buried alongside all the pets that we failed as a family and can only remain a dark memory, says Sebastian. And Donaldson, your beauty, says Mark Morris. One, it's a good kick downfield. And the Reds are just getting trapped inside of their half at the moment. They've got no option but to just keep on returning fire, but they're not finding touch with their touch finders. Instead, it's just finding their hands at Donaldson. It's kicking it straight back. Barama said, where can I watch the game? What country are you in? Are you in Barama? Do let me know. I put enough to worry. Well, I've got enough to worry, but I feel like they will get another penalty opportunity in the game. And no Akira Ioane tomorrow. Unfortunately not. We will be missing him. Also no Bowden Barrett. And there's also there's another player I think missing for the Blues. I can't quite think of off the top of my head. Now Ron Smith about to make his way out there onto the field. He's a big boy in the front row. Currently 15 minutes left and the Waratahs have got themselves a 16-13 lead at this current point in time. And be kicked in to touch by the Reds, who did end up winning themselves the penalties, and now sitting about 30 meters out here. To be ready to go for another opportunity. That's the thing. If the Reds get themselves a try here, you'd say they almost, like, I don't know whether or not you could go for the 3 the next time after getting the try. I feel like you've got to continue to try and attack, try and get yourself ahead of the Waratahs while working hard, but it is going to be now Harry Johnson-Holmes, who's been playing extremely well throughout this match. He is going off the field alongside the man who did start at number 1. Or in fact, he came off the bench for this match. Going to be taken almost by the Reds. Did he drop that one? No, just hanging on to it enough. The ball's still going to be available at the back. And also, how do you think Roger will go? I hope he does slot in quite nicely in that midfield. When you've got Rieko Ioane on the outside, worst comes to worst. If you're not having the best game, just pass it and hope that he can make you look like a star on the outside. But I think he should be right. That was big contact there on Fraser McWright. We could hear that hit through the referee's stump mic. Well, not the stump mic. That was a full pass from James O'Connor. Forward out of the hands. It's a penalty, though, to the Reds for offside. And I believe that was McWright who did say go for the 3. James O'Connor, I think he's just asked him the question, are you sure you want to go for 3 here? Or do we go for the corner? What is the decision here? They're kicking for the corner. James O'Connor, he said he doesn't want the 3. We need more than that. We want to try. And that is exactly what they're going to be going for. As long as this one goes into touch, they have got a good chance of trying to get that rolling ball going, making sure it finds touch as well. So turning down a 3 here, I think he will get a try. See, Shane, imagine a try on debut for Tuivasa-Sheeka would be pretty awesome for him. And he has had plenty of time to really adapt to Union after not getting to play in the Bunnings NBC and also not getting to play in the first round of Super Rugby. He would have been training flat out. I believe him and Caleb Clark are quite close. Gone in, taken nicely now for the rolling ball, going short side. Siru now passing it off. And it is going to be Josh Nusser getting a little bit closer. 10 meters out now for the Reds. They're in touch with the foot. So because of it now, it does mean that it's going to be the Waratahs with the line out. And a mistake from the Reds. And a big mistake at that, because now they've turned down the easy 3 points to get them back to a level playing field. Now they need to try and find their way over the try line pretty much in the next few minutes if they do want to try and say that it was the right decision. But now Tom Horton with this line out. Foot just in touch there for Josh Nasser. Now throwing it to the middle, not claimed, and now it's back in the hands of the Reds. A little bit of a juggle there from the Reds player, but in the end, still able to just hang on to it. Now what do? It looks like Ngora might consider going for it. They've actually got, I was going to say they have no men on the top side of the screen, but now they have run a couple over and no try to jinx comp. Oh, not trying to jinx the comp, but do you think any more games will be affected? I think we'll have a few more. Uru getting close. Now waiting for the ball popping out the back here. It's going to be Nongor dropping his head, getting closer. 5 phases in around the side. Ryan Smith. The best thing here for the Waratahs will be to hold this ball up or get themselves a penalty. Suru falling straight on the neck. It's getting closer, wrestling his way down, but he does end up passing it back across. They've got 3 men down there. That looked extremely close, but once again, they are just short of the line, the Reds. Can they get over that look close? That looked very close. And was it down? This is close. This is a close one for Ryan Smith here. I think he went over the line. It's whether or not he did ground it before the turnover happened. It looked pretty good. Okay, on-field decision is actually no try. So maybe I was just looking at nothing for that one. Ryan Smith, is he confident? Does he look confident? I think that could be a try. So that is why he did go with no try, because he was on the wrong side of the breakdown. I would say that this is close. That to me is a try for Smith. And he's been able to get his side now back into the lead. By the looks of it, we will go like this. And we will go like this as well. Smith, I am confident that they will say that that is over the line. It's down. It's over the line. And Ryan Smith scores the try for the Reds. There we go. We'll go like that. And now the Reds are going to take the lead back just a little bit more in this one. And also teams need to stay safe, even around family, says Shane. And also let's go, says Taraka. And currently now 12 minutes left in this game. There's still time to play. Both sides still have the opportunity of being able to get themselves 1 or 2 more tries. I would say that the Reds, if they get the opportunity down that end, they will probably more than likely end up going for, I think they'll take the 3, depending on where it is. And also we have got there, hello, bro. I know this is not a cricket stream, but I think Irvia should be our opening batsman for the next few years. He did look very impressive. 108, I believe he ended up getting in the end. But yeah, we have got, unfortunately, we won't be having any cricket live stream tomorrow, just due to the fact that they will be overlapping a little bit with Super Rugby. But after that, day 3, 4, and 5, we will be covering on the channel. Should be a very exciting one. So we're in a good position at the moment. But currently, the Reds being able to get themselves that one. And now they are going to be sitting on 20 points if it does decide that it wants to update, which it doesn't look like it has as of yet. The Waratahs retaining that kickoff. Now Jake Gordon going down the wing. Was he in touch? Not quite. And now Peach carrying himself forward. Now only 10 meters out. Jake Gordon going back across. Donaldson going for the cross kick. The man was back though, able to take the mark. And it was nicely done in the end. And also, no, Waratahs are winning. And there, although there should be a try that needs to update, but they haven't given it to the Reds as of yet. But I believe it's close. Do you think if I click it will help? I've got the mouse in the position where it normally updates. As you can see, it's flashing. No, that doesn't work, unfortunately. That was a mark taken there by the Reds inside of their own 22. And now kick back downfield, looking for a little bit of the kicking game there. O'Connor taking it outside of the 22. This one cannot find touch on the full. It's a brilliant kick downfield, though, taking it only 5 meters out from the Waratahs line, and also at Super Rugby at the same time as Warriors game. I believe so. Sadly, we do have an overlap there. I'll have a quick look, though, and see whether or not it is going to be the case. But currently, they don't want to give the Reds the try. I don't know who's in charge of the scoreboard, but they might go for the Waratahs. And they aren't giving the Reds the try. So the Reds are currently leading 20 points to 16. Anyone who is curious about that one. Currently now the Waratahs making another sub here for the NRL. Currently as it is sitting at this stage, it's 6 points to the West Tigers, sorry. And Sydney Roosters sitting on 8. The the Warriors play at 5 p.m. up against the Titans. And that is going to be at the same time as Fiji and Draw versus the Brumbies. And also Warriors are 4:30. See Shane there, but it is going to be another sub being made here. And Gleeson making his way out onto the field. Currently, there isn't a lot of time left on the board. Taken nicely now by the Reds. Fraser McRae breaking off the back. Harry Wilson once again with a good attack and run forward for the Reds, number 8. This is looking better for the Reds, so they are building phase after phase here. Can be very crucial for them. And this one, James O'Connor, a little bit of a juggle, so in the end, did end up having to rethink the way that he was kicking that ball. It's going to be taken nicely there on the 22. Now with the counter run from Newsom. Great low tackle from Josh Fluke trying to win the penalty here by the looks of it for the Reds, but it is still going to be on their side. Ryan Smith goes back across to Charlie Gamble. Nongora gets straight on the ball. It pops out on the side of the Reds. And now Sururu has got this ball back. Taken nicely by Fraser McRae. Good attacking run. Bouncing almost out of the tackle of Gleeson. I'm back once again now. James O'Connor on the outside gives it off to the hands of Hamish Stewart, who has wrestled down 25 metres out at the moment. Brumbies to win that game. And yeah, it should be a very good game to watch. Juggle there. And it's going to be the knock-on advantage. Jumped on. And now we're going back for the scrum feed for the Waratahs. Currently only 4 points difference between these two sides with only a total of 8.5 minutes left in this matchup. It's going to be going down to the wire. Could easily go either way. One can only hope that for Moana Pacifica, Southie have to at least take the field free from COVID regardless of who they play against. DSM says exactly right, because I know that from the BBL, a lot of the players did mention, like, it's not so much as sometimes the symptoms aren't that bad, but it's the fatigue that you feel like you just feel tired straight away. So for those guys playing rugby, where you got like 80 minutes for some of them of pure intensity, even 40 minutes will be hard enough to be able to go around without like kind of running out of breath. So it's going to be a bit of a rebuild, I think, for Moana Pacifica, and they didn't really need another rebuild, seeing as this is their rebuild, or this is their first build. So they're already rebuilding their first build, which is a building triangle. And triangles, I mean, the pyramids with triangles, they're still up, so hopefully it goes all right for them. They can be as strong as the pyramids. Are the pyramids still all up? Hopefully they are. And they don't end up with any problems in terms of lacking a squad. And also Waratahs aren't anymore. And there's his own Smith. They're doing very nicely at the moment. And also hope Blues win tomorrow. And have they? Okay, now they have updated it so that it is 20 to the Reds. I thought that they weren't going to be updating it. Jamie Roberts still not out on the field here. And I hope Blues win tomorrow. There will be a good game up against the Hurricanes. That is going to be 7:05 p.m. We will be covering that game on the channel also. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. They need a fully fit team. And there says Shane, exactly right. Hopefully they do give them the time. That's going to be the penalty to the Waratahs, and Brumbies obvious favourites, but not harm watching the drawer perform and compete regardless of what the scoreboard says. Says Sammy Sosa, exactly right. Hopefully we do get to see a good performance from the drawer, and Warriors will win 36-10, and they're going to be a tough game. Says it was Achilles, but hope you're doing well, mate. Currently must be sitting around lunchtime for yourself there. And also a triangle in the chat from Taraka. Looks like, but currently also making his way out there. Tane Edmund is going to be there, ready to go. And also Queensland Drop Bears in their sets of vision. I'll be watching the Ford Trophy final. Going to be a good one between those two sides, the Central Districts and also the Auckland Aces. For that one thrown in, that's debatably not straight. The ball's bouncing up, though, in favour of the Reds. And now once again going to continue to drive their way forward. Looking to the short side here, James O'Connor. Hands not the best. Oh, brilliantly done, though, from Ryan Smith. Even though it wasn't a try, it wasn't a tackle, it was just great handling from the big man. It was a terrible pass from O'Connor, so he's done extremely well to hang on to it. Harry Wilson now trying to drive his way up the middle of the field. And the ball down nicely. Now going to the short side. Ryan Smith wrestled down. Ball almost available for the Waratahs, but it does pop out the back now. Fraser McWright sells the dummy, spins out of the tackle with Charlie Gamble. Currently 25 metres out. Harry Wilson. Ball on the inside to Sururu. Doesn't quite find the offload. Ball bounces back out the back. It's going to go down. Was it a knock on? Yes, it was. And also, at least those players' vlogs or those player vlogs online shows the MP team itself or Moana Pacifica team itself is in high spirits and are really determined to get out there and play. And also Warriors and for spell check. And also we have got there and hope Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and Rico do well together. Excited with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck back in the squad. And Warriors have got this, says Paddy Wagon, for that game up against the Titans. That will be a good matchup. Jamie Roberts now made his way out onto the field. He is the reserve back for this matchup. Huge amount of experience playing overseas. And I always say that man's chin is wham. I guess I don't use the word wham very often, but it's just big. Like he got a chin on him. I don't know how you go at boxing. You wouldn't even really have to go like that to hide the chin. Or you would actually. You'd have to put the whole arm and that one in front, stop the chin from getting clipped. Currently now passing it back, or rolling it back in the scrum, I should say. Big push there from the Reds. And now once again, now Jamie Roberts gets his first carry of the match and Warriors will win by 12. And now Warriors have got this, going to be fired back. And Edmund gets it away. A lot of pressure on him though. Filippo Dalgunu. Did it go backwards? No, it did not. And he's disappointed. He's saying, ref, I knocked that one backwards. The referee's saying, no, you didn't. And Tate McDermott's going, what's going on here? That wasn't ideal. But the rain is still falling throughout this whole game. It's just been pouring throughout this one. But Filippo Dalgunu just not quite able to hang on to it. And because of it now, does open up another opportunity. And Filippo Dalgunu asking the question of, did it go forwards? And the referee did say, yeah, close enough. Currently 5 minutes left in this game. It is still very, very, very damp at the moment at the ground. The Reds have had full games of rain, or in fact, they've played about 120 minutes of rainy rugby so far out of the 100 and I guess 150 minutes that they've played, also 155 at the moment. They are going to be ready to go. Jamie Roberts might be the man who they just throw at the line here. And also, mate, it's been raining for a whole week, legit non-stop. Yeah, it just keeps on going at the moment. Like, did the other game have rain? I think the Brumbies versus, if the Brumbies versus Fijian Drua game has rain, it could be anyone's match. And if Warriors play the Titans, then hopefully they win just to see Blaze's reaction from because since he's a diehard Titans fan. And there said Sammy Souza. And also they need a roof. Says Shane, a roof would be a good idea. So it's currently very wet at the ground. We're seeing a lot of ice packs around. There's an ice pack on the, I believe that's, what's his face? Who's that? I recognize the face, but I can't think of who it is. He has in the 4-pack, and then also Angus Bell had one on the thigh. Jay Gordon putting the ball in. Big push there from the Reds once again. Were they wheeling it? Went up in the front row. So it is going to be going back for the original re-scrummage reset. That's the word I was after. I had an abdomen, or I had to abandon my tractor at work because the rain was so bad. I mean, that's the thing on a golf course as well. The last thing you want to do is put big tractor ruts like in the course, don't you? So I guess probably a good idea. So you probably have to wait like a week until you can go back, Hamish. More than likely just to let it dry out. Unless, of course, you got very good drainage system at your golf course. Normally golf courses do need some sort of drainage. Just to show that it is late at night. If I didn't yawn, you guys might think it's morning. But it is not morning. Currently 11:34. And how's the game looking, says Tomato? At the moment, very even between these two sides. The Waratahs trying to get themselves the penalty. It's a little bit shaky. Penalty to the Waratahs. Now what do? You're 4 points behind. You got 4 minutes left on the clock. Do you go for the 3 points or do you go for the corner and try and settle this game? What can you do? I believe it was Gleeson working hard there on the near side. What do? I don't know what I would do. And the drainage was all right at the course And then also go the task, says Dean, they've kicked it for the corner. 5, in fact, 10 metres out. And we have rain and Invercargill today. Boy races were out. And there says Shane, so I wasn't on the golf course. And there says Hamish, but currently now visits to the opposition 22, 12 visits, 1 try, 19 minutes 55 in the opposition 22. That is the biggest number I think I've ever seen in Super Rugby for a team being inside of the 22 to only score 1 try. Well, that's how they're doing a job on rugby/soccer field at the moment. Ball's almost stolen there. It's going to be a cheeky knock on by someone, I think it was. Backwards as the calls to the Waratahs are still going to have this ball for another 3 minutes now. Advantage once again in favour of the Waratahs. It's going to be a close finish. Still got this ball available for Will Harris. Jumping on the ball for the Reds. It was Ryan Smith trying to turn it over. And also Lorne there says Betty, we're going to tap and run. And there currently, I mean, the next one might be worth a tap and run with how close they will be. This is using up more time currently. Only 2 minutes 30. Another advantage there against the Reds. This could be a yellow card coming for them here. Jake Gordon plays as halfback once again. Edmund passes the ball back. Jamie Roberts. Wide cutout pass. Now Parisi straightening with the run. Still 22 metres out. Now I'm back for the penalty. Super Rugby tap and run sounds like a good name for a rugby game. Super Rugby tap and run. I feel like if it's anything like Simpsons hit and run, or it would have to be a little bit different, of course, or else then, I don't know whether or not they'd let us release it. But I like it, Super Rugby tap and run. It's got a ring to it, doesn't it? So we're saying it was originally going to be a knock-on anyway against Salakai Lotto. Kicking it for the corner once again here for the Waratahs. Last 3 penalties have been against the Reds. And also getting tight. And there says Dean, it is indeed. And boy races are out. Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, very noisy. And there says Shane. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I would have thought it would be Friday and Saturday would be the best nights for it. But I guess if it's raining on Thursday, like that's the thing. I don't think I would ever be a boy racer myself. Just because even if my car goes like, then I feel like, oh, did someone hear that? Hopefully they don't get annoyed with the noise. The ball's been put down there. And it's a scrum feed now for the Reds. Big stretch here, but now just a minute left on the clock for the Reds to close out the game. I mean, if they get themselves a penalty here, the big question would be, would they be willing to risk it all for a win of more than 7? I think there are bigger games ahead, so you wouldn't bother trying to make sure that you do win this game by 10, unless, of course, you get a penalty and a massive boot downfield. In fact, at this stage, if you get a penalty, you're almost tapping it and putting it out. That's the game over. Only 1 minute left. No nightclubs are open in New Zealand. And there says Shane, and also as this game over, says Thomas. 30 seconds now left on the clock. 4 points difference between these two sides, the Reds and the Waratahs. The scrum is going in now. Going to be fed in by Spencer Jeans. It's gone down to the front row now, passing it out. And it looks like more than likely the Reds will look to get 2 more phases here and then just look to close out this game rather than going for an attacking maneuver. Ryan Smith fires it back. The last thing they want is a handling area here, though, for the Reds, or else that will cause all kinds of problems. And mainstreams would both like and subscribe. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciated. We are going to be back for the 3 matches tomorrow of Super Rugby and then also the Six Nations full time. And the Reds get the win, 20 points to 16, but a bonus point coming the way of the Waratahs. He might have kicked it too early. It's full time. James O'Connor said that he heard the siren and the crowd booed for that one right at the second that ball went out. It was very close. If Aussie Rugby is this good, and it would be even better if the Wallabies themselves can do the same thing against the All Blacks as well, and why they came out, or why they come out, says Shane there. And also Australia will never beat the All Blacks this year. And then also Taraka said what, and great to see the Maroons about to win. Red said Sammy Souza, but 20 points to 16 to close out the game. I thought that was going to be something different there, and they collapsed the scrum, says Amy Spencer. And also Highlanders and Waratahs both look great today, but the inevitable happened ultimately, says Sebastian. And also GG's good win, and they're very close game between the two sides. Only 4 points difference between them in the end, and 7 for 7 now. And there says Xavier. So he is nailing the predictions at the moment. GG good win, says Tomato. But nonetheless, Only a few tries being scored in this game. Jordan Pataya, Ryan Smith, and then also Will Harris was able to score himself the try for the Waratahs. I think he might have scored last week as well, now that I think about it, for Will Harris. But what a game of rugby we did get to see. But thank you all very much for tuning in. We will be back for the 3 games that are happening tomorrow as well. We will be setting up those live streams very shortly so you guys can know exactly when they are taking place. First of which, Brumbies versus Fiji and Drua, Blues versus Hurricanes, and then Rebels taking on the Western Force to close us out. No Chiefs versus Moana Pacifica this week, sadly. But hopefully we do get one in the near future as well. And also we've got the eyes from Paddy Wigan. And also I thought I blocked this kid. And then how's your tipping going? Terribly. I don't actually think, I mean, I said that the Reds would win, but I haven't actually been keeping track of whether or not I am actually getting them right or not. I just kind of say a total at the start, and I probably say a different total at halftime. And also, thanks for streaming. Appreciate it. Says Tamano, no worries at all, mate. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Hope you did enjoy. And we will see you all tomorrow for some more of the Super Rugby action and also the Six Nations. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all.